Good Friday. It's a quiet start to this morning in the Omaha Metro. There's still no accidents or delays to report. There's just a disabled vehicle partially blocking a westbound I-80 exit ramp to 72nd. Otherwise, your morning traffic commute should be smooth sailing for the time being, but if that changes, I'll keep you updated throughout the rest of the morning once traffic starts picking up. Be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by PlumRight.
Spring is here, flowers are blooming, birds are singing, and your drains? Well, they're still clogged. Call PlumRight. Their spring drain special is just $63. And if they don't show up in 63 minutes, it's free. Freshen up your home, starting with your pipes. Call PlumRight.
When it comes to protecting your home, Sten Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Sten Contracting has you covered. Have you noticed stains on your ceiling this winter? With storm season around the corner and the damage it can bring, let Sten Contracting ensure that your roof is durable and holds up against the weather this spring and summer. When you need an honest assessment, Sten Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
Every Sunday, Captain Crash guides you through the marina and out beyond the breakers. Come aboard for smooth sailing and music. Your VIP cabin awaits.
If you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain.
Someone pour me a reunion on ice. The Sunday Yacht Rock Cruise with Captain Crash. 10 till 3 every Sunday on 1019 The Keg.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code REDEEM to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
If you're already rocking with this is Turn Up Power 106.9, Omaha's #1 for hip-hop and hits. We're talking Drake, Cardi B,
This sound like Cardi to today.
Kendrick.
They not like us.
And all the biggest names in the game. Plus, exclusive remixes, throwbacks, and the dopest DJs. Powered by NRG Media Omaha. We bring you the energy, the culture, and the sound of the city. Lock in to Power 106.9.
Hey, neighbor. Oh, my gosh. Is your energy bill sky high again, too?
Not anymore. My old windows were so leaky, it was as if I had a window open while my AC was running. So I replaced them with Champion Windows.
Champion Windows. Do you like them?
Like them. I love them. And they're guaranteed for a lifetime. They made the whole process easy. I just went online and booked my free estimate all by myself. And I got a great deal where I could buy 2 replacement windows and get 2 free.
A lifetime guarantee and buy 2 windows and get 2 free? Does that mean if I need 8 windows, I can buy 4 and get 4 free?
Sure does.
What if I buy 6? Do I get 6 free?
Yep.
Or if I get 10 windows, do I get 10 free?
Just call Champion Windows already.
If your windows are drafty, ugly, or broken, now is the best time to replace your home's windows with new Champion Windows. Book your free estimate online at championsavenow.com or call 877-GO-CHAMPION right now. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
Producing the best look in town since 1974, Lana is your one-stop for all your landscape needs. Premium mulch products, locally produced and always available for pickup or delivery. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lana, 192nd and Center.
The American Cancer Society improves the lives of people with cancer and their families by focusing on patient support. We help people find answers and resources, whether they want to reduce their cancer risk, understand a cancer diagnosis and treatment options, learn how to manage side effects, or find transportation, or even a place to stay like Hope Lodge communities when treatment is far from home. Visit cancer.org or call us at 800-227-2345. That's cancer.org or 800-227-2345.
Springtime is the right time for home improvement, and your home improvement company has their biggest sale of the year. 50% off your window purchase plus free labor with a minimum of 4 windows. And easy financing, 0 down, 0 interest, 0 payments for 12 months. Or transform your bathroom, make it more modern. Save up to 30% plus an additional 10% off and a free shower pan or bathtub. Easy financing too. No money down, no interest, and no payments until 2026. Call 402-764-1720 and schedule that free in-home consultation. Windows, bathrooms, or both. Now's the time. Biggest sale of the year. So let me repeat. 50% off your window purchase, minimum of 4 windows, plus free labor. Or up to 30% off a bathroom remodel, plus an additional 10% off and a free shower pan or bathtub. Call 402-764-1720. 402-764-1720. You're going to love the difference with your home improvement company. Visit YHIC.com and find out more. YHIC will exceed your expectations and make your home better. This deal only happens once, and it's now their biggest sale of the year. Call today and love the difference.
I tried to hide my cigarette smoking. Then I was rushed into emergency surgery to repair the damage smoking did to my heart. It shocked everyone because they thought I was healthy. Yet because I smoked, I had a severe heart condition that nearly killed me. My tip is, you may be able to hide your smoking from the world, but you can't hide from the damage smoking does to your body.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The biggest weekend in college basketball is here, and Westwood One is your home for all of it.
And for the Garnet in black, the destination is Tampa.
Hi, this is Ryan Radke. Join us Friday at 6 p.m. for our coverage of the Women's Final Four. In Game 1, defending national champion South Carolina will take on Texas, followed by UCLA facing UConn. If it's the Women's Final Four, it's right here.
Friday night, Westwood One presents the 2025 Women's Final Four, and it's right here on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone.
Feel Good Friday, everybody. Welcome in. It is another edition of Gary and Matt. To finish up the week ahead of the Final Four, you just heard the Zone's carrying women's Final Four tonight.
Heck yeah. Should be fun. So, I mean, this is a great weekend of sports.
I'm you about the crowd.
Right?
Men's Final Four is tomorrow. That'll also be carried on the Zone. We have 4 days of basketball. We have, if you're in Vegas, a circa party today. For the Crown. I got an email last night.
Wow.
If you're in Vegas between 12 and 6, you can go to a circa party to celebrate the 4 semifinalists in the Crown.
Are we taking direct flights like right now after the show?
The whole station's not there.
I mean, that'd be an incredible time to celebrate such a prestigious event.
I did the old watching a lot of basketball last night. Went from the NIT to the Crown. It's quite the jarring experience, I'm telling you.
Doing the Lord's work so we don't have to.
Can I, and maybe this is just playing into it. Is there a difference in the level of basketball between the two?
Intensity would be the way to describe it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm assuming that the NIT had a little bit more intensity than the Crown.
The way that game ended.
Geez. Like, talk about shots that you're going to be remembering for the rest of your life. Yeah. That is one of them. That was absolutely heartbreaking. And also, too, like, it was a very meh awareness play because I don't know the guy's name, but I think he thought he had less time than he actually did, and he put it up very herky-jerky. Oof indeed. That's tough. But it's the NIT. You know, at least it's not the NCAA Tournament National Championship or the round of 64 or the round of 32 or really any other postseason moment.
One thing I'm eagerly anticipating today in San Antonio, Jimmy's hometown, where they will host the practices today. How large is the midcourt logo? because
big.
I think
I've seen
the NIT watched The Crown this week.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? We got to stretch our logo a little bit more. So it goes from the top of the 3-pointer at the top of the key to the other side.
It's not that big.
At this point, we're just going to get
ginormous.
Well, Bryant Reeves break a rim or a backboard.
Oh, that's
today.
true. That was
30 years ago.
Kingdom.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Wonder at some
the
point.
Kingdom, not big country. He's alive.
I wonder at some point if just the entire court will be the half court logo.
Probably.
Just the entire court will just be the massive sponsorship of whatever the hell tournament you're playing at.
See, I think we should just get crazy with courts. I mean, there's a place in
y'all saying, Lincoln?
There's a place in the Big Ten that puts an outline of the state map on the floor.
Yeah.
I said they should have just done the whole floor in the whole state with like the tributaries and the rivers and the highways and
county numbers.
I
city.
actually do think that they should put the little outlines of the like just very faint enough where like someone in the
81?
stands could barely see it and be like, you see between that line and that line and that line, I'm in that little area. That's where we're at. You know, a little state pride.
Grandma's buried there.
You know, he shot it from my house.
Like, you could do the QR code where you could stretch in your phone and your picture and like hone in on, he shot it from my driveway. Yeah.
Get like the Google, actually make it like an interactive logo where if you get down there, you can zoom in to see like the actual little like Google pixel houses.
He hit that from Carhenge.
Hit that from my driveway.
Like it started with Kansas. They have a gigantic midcourt logo.
Yeah.
Kraton's midcourt logo is humongous. You've got the NIT and the Crown. Those logos are, the NIT one is obnoxious. Now it's an okay logo, but it like takes up most of the floor.
And it's bright. Like it's a bright logo. Like there's nothing hiding about the NIT logo.
I think we need to bring back. We need to find more Boise States with basketball where their floors are one certain color. I think Eastern Washington tried it, and because their football field is all red, and I think they nixated it. Somebody said, "Nah, not for basketball."
Do you prefer the big logo in the middle of the court, or do you prefer like the skyline outline you'll see like on the sides of the court?
We got to be careful here because Omaha's new court, which they've had for a couple of years, has the outline of Omaha.
Yes. Do you like? What do you prefer? The big obnoxious logo in the middle, or the skyline outline? I like a skyline.
I like
outline.
the skyline. There's quite a few teams in the Summit League. Like Kansas City has the skyline. Denver does as well, and then Omaha. Like if you're in Brookings, you're not going to do a skyline in Brookings on the side of your floor, or in Vermilion.
But I think the one in Cleveland, like the Cavaliers, that one is cool. But what Oregon did with all the trees and the leaves, it's got to be, if you're going to do anything on the side of the court, it has to be buildings. It has to be your city. It can't be, we're not doing forest material on the side of the court.
But it does show like your interest in a tournament if you're talking about the midcourt logo compared to actually the ball is being played. But people may not want to admit it in the basketball circles because I think yesterday was the 25th anniversary of Michigan State winning championship in the Big Ten. I don't know if people are ready for this news, but you might want to sit down because there are many that are saying in the chat rooms, because of the way the whole basketball season is played out and we are down to 8 teams remaining, that Nebraska is the best team in the Big Ten because they're still playing. Now that USC has been eliminated by Villanova last night. I'm not saying that, but I think other people are because they're trying to break down like the longest you last. It's kind of like Survivor.
Yeah.
It's like the Royal Rumble. As long as you keep the person that lasts the longest, they are considered the best.
Well, if we're breaking down into Royal Rumble terms, Nebraska went through the middle rope, went under the ring, hit under the ring the entire time, let everybody fight it out. When everybody got eliminated, they rolled out from under the ring and they went back in. We're the winner now. We're the winner.
Or they went back into the ring when the entire arena was empty and they're like, champion. We will discuss a little bit of Nebraska basketball. They do play tomorrow. 12:30 against Boise State.
Wow.
You could have a quadruple hitter of basketball because was Villanova and UCF play at 3?
I can look at that. I believe so. When
that leads into the Florida Auburn, the biggest SEC game ever, and then the nightcap, which is Duke and Houston. So basketball tomorrow, and then you have basketball tonight in the women's Final Four.
Yeah, it's 12:30 Boise State, Nebraska, 3:00 UCF. Nova leads right into your beautiful 5:09 tip of Florida.
That's a 2 edible day.
Auburn Tigers.
So the storyline with the Final Four, and we'll we'll get picks and other things about the Final Four, and I will still try and get all you to like Cougars. Remember in 2008 when we had all four number ones?
I liked them.
So there's a great, this is the debate that I'm for the joy of sport.
Yes, you are.
The debate of NIL and portal, I hope, will pause for at least maybe a day. I don't think Ian Eagle and Bill Rafferty will hammer the NIL or the portal. They'll actually talk about the basketball that's being played, and that would be the joy of sport.
Hopefully.
But there is the thing of, people are like, this isn't a very good tournament. It's all chalk, which, straight up, the favorites went 12-0 in the last weekend. But if you remember, what do you remember about the 2008 Final Four that makes it like people talk about it to this day?
I was happy. That's all I cared about.
KU did win, yes.
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Shout out Memphis for missing a bunch of free throws.
Oh, yes. The Dion waiters, you got to foul when you're up 3. They didn't foul him. Dion ends up making the 3-pointer, goes in overtime. Kansas wins it.
Man, I didn't know we had Dion waiters.
Or was it? It was when
maybe I did too much drugs in college.
Mario Chalmers.
I'm sorry, got it wrong.
So the epic finish.
Shout out Dion waiters though. I remember him.
The epic finish, which everybody talks about.
You foul up 3.
But you remember in the semifinals they were all blowouts.
Billy Packer, this game is over.
Yeah,
still a famous quote.
The 2 games were blowouts, but what happened in the final with the Chalmers shot for KU to win the title over Calipari and Derrick Rose, like everybody talks about. So I think the games will be close tomorrow, but there will be wild takes if there are blowouts tomorrow about how bad the NCAA tournament has been, and then I'll say wait till Monday. But I think tomorrow will be good games. They will not be KU.
UCLA.
Yeah,
Russell
KU
Westbrook.
blew out UCLA.
KU blew out Carolina,
and then Memphis blew out UCLA.
I totally agree with you. And I thought about this yesterday when I was thinking about these games, was that we've been kind of deflecting the whole no Cinderella. It's all been chalk because we know that these matchups are going to be incredible and they're going to be the best 4 teams. But the thought does creep into your mind. Man, I hope everybody who's been complaining without really a stance that this has been terrible ends up not being right, because these games end up not being competitive, because that's been like the gold at the end of the rainbow for me, at least, when everybody's saying, oh, it's terrible. The gold has been, well, you get an incredible Final Four. You hope that it lives up to the hype. At the same time, it's just so dumb to like base your opinions on all the tournaments in the future and all the tournaments in the past based off of one tournament that like currently happened.
Cancel it after this year.
After 1 year. No, absolutely not.
2020,
but
best tournament ever.
Also, too, like, it turns out that these are like, yes, they're the 4 best teams, but in terms of the Final Four, like, these are the 2 best matchups I feel like you could have gotten as well, in terms of like contrasting styles of play, in terms of what do the teams do similarly and how are they going to combat each other, right? You have the incredible talent of Duke and the fact that they can go off at any moment on offense, but then the relentless defense of Houston. On the other side of the ball, Auburn and Florida, they play incredibly similarly in terms of their size and physicality on the offensive boards and defensive boards, where it's like, that's going to be a bare knuckle brawl. Where so not only do you have like the 4 best teams, I feel like you have the 2 best matchups you could to get like the best games you possibly could hope for in the Final Four.
Remember Houston. Houston, we may not have a problem.
We liked living there. Very human.
Man, I know a lot of people love them some Duke, and they're actually real Duke fans that I have met along the way. But I'll make a case for the Houston Cougars. Maybe not. You got your big board here today?
I have my big board.
Yeah.
Did you take a peek at the big board?
I had not taken a peek at the big board.
Okay.
The joy of sport is not just, just nonstop gambling talk on the radio. That's another one of my things.
Well, it's not nonstop gambling talk. It's just I have my picks. I have my picks. It's a good weekend. It's a great weekend. I'm going to tell you something right now. Love the board, but it's nonstop gambling talk.
It is. That's all you talk about.
That's not all I talk about.
1620 the slot.
I give some analysis. I say some things. I talk about things that I hear, and then on the side, when you egg me on, I talk about my degenerate gambling and the thing that I enjoy to do very much, that I'm slightly passionate about. But it's not all I talk about. It's about 32% of what I talk about.
Now, what sports do we have represented on the big board?
We have basketball. We have hockey.
Hockey.
We have horse racing.
Horsies.
We have the ponies, and we have baseball.
Enter Sandman showed up at Churchill Downs last night.
Yeah. Hey, great call. Great. Sandman had a really good run about a week ago, and he's one of the top horses in the Kentucky Derby. Let me tell you right now, 10th race, 7:00 Saturday, Santa Anita Derby. 10 Kentucky Derby winners have won the Santa Anita Derby. Be a big race if you're into the ponies.
I didn't know that. I just learned something. All right.
So horse racing, hockey, basketball, and that's it.
And baseball.
Can't
forget about baseball. You're gonna love the baseball bet that I have today.
Love is in he's gonna go place the same bet, or he's going to worry.
He's gonna worry.
Okay.
He's gonna worry. It's gonna be like, really? We're betting on this? Out of all the things, we have a whole slate of 3 days of baseball, and this is the one that you picked. That's the reaction.
Now, the hockey and baseball, are they involving today's games?
Yes. Okay. So hockey and baseball involve today's games. Both Final Fours have been selected. So that's both games Saturday, and then horse racing is Saturday.
When will you be revealing the big board?
Yeah.
Whenever we want to reveal the big board.
Sometime between 6 and 10?
Sometime between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. We will dive deep into the big board. The big board is like your favorite Dominican left-handed closer, right? You look to the bullpen, you put your right hand on your left arm, you go, hey, we need him. And then he just walks out of the bullpen, and he gives you a good inning, or in this case, a good segment.
I believe Aroldis Chapman was from Cuba.
I think he is. There's a lot of them.
I think of great left-handed relievers.
Let's see. Billy Wagner, not from the Dominican.
Billy Wagner would be like, come to mind. No, he was not. He was from Virginia.
Close. Yes. Same time zone.
Marmol was a righty.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of left-handed Dominicans that come out of the bullpen.
Hey,
that close.
Gary, like a lot of things out of my mouth, it was just a random saying. All right,
Randy
it was
Johnson,
a random
Little Big League,
sentence.
not from the
There
Dominican.
wasn't anyone I was thinking of in particularly. It doesn't even have to be a common thing. It's just a reliever that comes out of the bullpen. The big board behind me.
Skip, I'm from Pittsburgh. He's rolling.
There is speaking of that, I saw a video yesterday. There is a left-handed high school kid. Left-handers like Billy Wagner was kind of, and Chapman, those kind of guys are a little bit rare of lefties, Randy Johnson types. They are very, very rare that throw that hard. This kid's throwing like 102.
Jeez.
High school kid.
Damn.
As a left-hander, as a starter.
So he'll be drafted.
As a starter.
So Quinn Priester, who plays for the Boston Red Sox. Have you ever there's like a myth that he got drafted in the first round of the MLB draft, and he's from like my area of Illinois. The myth is that that kid throws gas, absolute gas, like upper 90s, has been throwing his entire life. He did not take one pitching lesson until he got to the MLB. That is like one of the more
no pitching coach in high school.
No pitching coach or anything
That's
like
impressive.
that. Like that is the myth was like,
before he kills
this guy is a first round draft pick who throws absolute gas, who's a lanky like 18-year-old, never once had a trainer, never anything like that. Just picked up a ball. Like his dad was just like, here, put your leg up and throw it, and like he was throwing gas. Absolutely ridiculous.
Dad's there counting the
I
cash.
don't know if it's. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if it's 100% true, but that's the myth. I told you it was a myth. I said it was a myth. It's a myth. The myth is that I've been told by two.
What
different
are you,
people.
Norm Macdonald? I don't know what to believe today.
No, two different people.
Rest in
two
peace.
different people.
What? Give me a conspiracy theory while you're on this thing here. So you're just making stuff up.
I'm
to
not
start
making
the show.
stuff up.
Have you turned him on to that podcast a couple years ago?
It was known amongst Illinois high school people.
JFK?
Yeah. Well, I've been on that since I was 12. All right. If I'm going to be honest with you, my dad was all over the JFK stuff. He loved watching the JFK HBO documentaries and everything like that. I mean, my dad's not, him and I were not conspiracy theorists, but we've been telling people for about a decade and a half that they killed JFK. It was like a father-son bonding moment where we were like, oh yeah, no, there's no such thing as a magic bullet.
And this is why I give thanks for another day of life. This is
so
a
I'm
great
guessing
day.
when they released all of the documents.
You combed through
you
them.
went through them.
Oh no, we didn't.
No.
That's why you went home a few weeks ago.
Like, Dad,
I got him.
Let's see what Trump's doing.
Get the printer going.
Any other conspiracy theory you'd like to float out there? Because it's pretty popular these days.
NBA draft lottery, Ewing theory.
Well, there you go. The Ewing theory, obviously, that occurred. Derrick Rose was the one ping pong ball did not just bounce to the Bulls. Same thing with LeBron. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. Same thing with Penny Hardaway in
Blue Chips
93 or 94.
Hey, yes, 93.
and then also too Zion Williamson. That whole draft, we already talked about it. That's all rigged too. All my conspiracy theories are just JFK and NBA draft lotteries.
No inside jobs or anything like that?
No.
Do you think we landed on the moon?
Absolutely.
Okay. Dion interfered with Irvin in the 94 NFC Championship game.
Yeah, no. I don't really I'm not the biggest conspiracy theory guy, other than, like I said, JFK and David Stern rigging ping pong balls into, to get certain guys to go to certain places.
No, we don't even
aliens.
But like people are like we talked about a couple weeks ago with Cooper Flagg. Like if they rig this year's NBA draft for him not to get lost in Washington or Charlotte, no one's going to bat an eye. Like the NBA, like LeBron to Cleveland. Really?
Okay.
Okay, that's great. That's great. It helps the league.
I'm excited.
Welcome to the NBA.
You think there will be how many Washington Wizards fans are there really out there to have like torches and
they deserve to lose for all
riots
eternity.
or anything like that? Like they will never there's not enough of them for the NBA to be like, ooh, Washington, they're mad. Oh my God.
I think there are more. I think there are more. You have more conspiracy theories cooped up in there.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other ones?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Longest Cooper Flagg ends up on my team.
Cooper Flagg, has Cooper Flagg surpassed Zion for their time in college in terms of popularity?
In terms of popularity, no. I think Zion was way more popular in terms of just the draw and the factor.
Because he was a freak.
Zion is just a better athlete. I mean, it was just a more exciting athlete to watch and all the ducks.
Prone.
Now, Cooper Flagg is the better basketball player.
And Sweater.
There's no doubt about that. That I would much rather have Cooper than have Zion. But Zion's ability to jump out of the building, without a doubt, made him more popular. Trying to think of more conspiracy theories. I feel like if you started throwing off ones that people are pretty
There's gotta
common.
be some good Chicago ones that you grew up hearing.
Well, I mean, I was waiting for you to you were going to go 9/11 was an inside job.
No.
Okay.
I would never.
Thank you.
I would never ever disrespect the lives.
That would
were
be
lost
we turn the
on
mic
that
off and
day.
be like, "You want breakfast? I'm buying."
No. I would never ever do that.
I don't know. I've been around 18 to 22-year-olds that have wild conspiracy theories. That I have to listen to. And I'm like, who was teaching you?
I have one more.
Sports or world related?
World related. They definitely. I don't know. I don't think he's still alive, but they definitely froze Walt Disney's head. Somewhere out there, they froze. You ever heard that conspiracy theory that
I
they
watched
froze
Futurama.
his brain to keep his brain intact in order so they if medicine was good enough they could fix it and bring him back to life. And apparently there's a rumor that his head and brain is somewhere out there in a cryo whatever vacuum
how
they're
Jerry
just
Jones is
waiting
gonna end
for
up.
medicine to advance to the point where they can bring Walt Disney back to life. I don't think they're actually going to end up being able to do that. Okay. But
not with that attitude.
I wouldn't doubt if Walt Disney's head just is just laying around somewhere
In the same lab as Ted Williams?
maybe potentially. I'm looking at
forgot about that.
I'm looking
Yeah,
at
that was a
top
big deal.
conspiracy theories right now. Number 9, Prince Charles is a vampire. How is that top 10?
Patino was.
Patino does look a little with the slick back hair and when he's got the long
talking
black
about the
suit on.
death-looking
You could definitely
skin.
tell me it looks a little bit like Dracula. He looks like Dracula's smaller cousin. He's not big enough to be Dracula, but he's Dracula the Third. I don't believe in Bigfoot.
Bigfoot does exist.
Yeah, he was the mascot for the Supersonics back in the day.
I don't believe in Bigfoot. That and the flat Earth people are hysterical, though. Have you ever seen those flat Earth videos?
Watch Kyrie the other night.
The people who try and prove the Earth is
Yes.
flat, and they do all these different science experiments, and then at the end of the day, they end up proving that the Earth is round in so many various different ways. That always gets a chuckle out of me.
I have a relative who tried to be really convincing about the Earth being flat, and I listened for a while at a holiday gathering, They almost had me convinced because they were pretty.
They were pretty.
They
into
had
it.
all the facts and they had everything. And then I just
sobered up and realized.
Can I ask?
I just said, can I just drive straight across and the curvature and so throw them off.
If the Earth is flat, why haven't we found the end yet? That's always my biggest question. Like, shouldn't we? I mean, we've been on the Earth long enough at this point where I feel like we should have found the abyss. Like, we should have found the edge. Like there are people who've literally circumnavigated the world. Like, you'd think at that point there'd be like, oh, hey guys, it's a cliff here. We just kind of turned back around and we took pictures and we sent it up to the cloud. Like, here it is. Like, I feel like at that point, like we've been here for quite a while.
Man, if you wake and bake, this is for you.
You'd think we'd find it.
I like where your mind's at.
I mean, it's been plenty of time.
Those are poignant questions to be asked. All right, coming up on the show. You didn't strike me as a conspiracy theorist guy.
I'm not really. I just said.
I think you are. I think there's something we can unlock in there.
They killed JFK for sure, without a doubt. And I've been banging on that drum for a while. All right. I mean, come on.
This
guys.
is Matt McMaster talking. If
you really think the bullet
overlords.
bent around a couple of buildings, right, and stopped physics, and then all of a sudden everything we know about bullets and how we harvest brains just changed for one instance for the president? We just decided to hide the brain and take away the pictures, and all of a sudden bullets were supposed to be small in the insert and big coming through. Now they're big coming through and small in the exit. That doesn't exist. None of this. We changed all the rules for one man, and we all sat there idly and said, "Oh yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald did it." Guys, everybody's been sheep for years when it comes to JFK. Now the truth is out.
Wow,
truth's out.
How about that Final Four this weekend in Texas? Ironically,
Alamo Dome. We've both been there.
Bruins Steve, who Bruins are winless in the last 10. So what was it, a couple years ago, Jimmy? I got onto this podcast, Solving JFK.
Mm-hmm.
It's
you said it's addicting.
It is very addicting. You would go down the rabbit hole and listen, and you would be convinced of one thing. The next episode, you'd be convinced of the other.
I feel like that's a great way to do a podcast.
You are clearly convinced of one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you and your dad share the same idea about JFK?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys did not make a father-son trip to the book depository. To go through and walk through all the steps. Because if you go there are people that do it. I went and visited when I was in Dallas a while ago. It's really, it's a very interesting. The only thing that threw me off is there is a car that looks like the same exact car that the president was in that drives around and it makes the turn.
That's kind of morbid.
Then when it gets, right there by the hill, it has a speaker in the back and it's really, really odd.
That is so odd.
I don't know if they still have it, but when Bishop and I we were down there, we were doing baseball. We were down there and we went to it and we were standing on the corner and, they're like picking out sites and here comes this vehicle with this guy driving with a speaker in the back. And you can pay to ride in the vehicle and go through the same route that the president went through.
It'd be even worse, if they
Can you stop saying back and to the left over and over again?
Can you
just
can you imagine if they hired a young actor and a young actress to be John and Jackie in the car, and they had it every hour they reenacted what happened?
I don't know. This guy drove around. It had sound effects, and then it had him on a mic telling you everything that was happening. It was bizarre, but it appeared to be very popular.
We will go at some point in my life with my father. We would go to the grassy knoll and really discover it for ourselves and do our own investigation. But you have to understand that I was a child where when I was growing up, when I walked into the family room, there was either the news on, the Cubs game, or World War II in color. It was one of those three things.
Sounds like my grandpa.
I think Shane Gillis talked about, or it was either Shane Gillis or John Mulaney talked about all of our middle-aged dads are just training for a World War II trivia day or a World War II game show. That was my dad. I mean, it was just always on, always World War II in color.
Mike Schaefer, a little bit under the weather. Not sure if he'll join us, but he's scheduled to stop by at 9. There are whispers in Chicago on the north side that today is opening day at Wrigley Field at 1:20 against the Padres.
Big rematch.
Matt Verzal, which I think we are up to 9 years of his opening day trip to Chicago with the fellas.
That's awesome.
He is in Chicago. He is on a bender.
Pedialyte ready.
I
need to get on his Twitter.
He will join us coming up at 9:20 as he makes his way to Wrigley Field, where, yes, there are whispers of an opening day. Cubs have been gone for a while.
They have
several months.
They played, 9 games before their home opener? The weather looks fantastic, by the way, in Chicago today. I'm being sarcastic.
I was about to say, I checked it this morning. I was
Yeah.
like, did I look at the wrong weather app? It's awful. But that's
opening day at Wrigley.
There you go.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Jimmy.
supposed to be cold.
That's what it always is. It's April, baby. It's April. It's windy.
The
it's
ivy's
cloudy.
dead,
It's
but
probably
wakening.
going to rain later in the day. It's blowing in. The Maddox flag is howling into the infield or to the outfield.
That is the lineup brought to you by the Roof Reason John Higgins Weather Guard. Lots on the Final Four. It's also a busy day, busy weekend of baseball around here. Red, blue, and black are all home for a key conference series. So we will dive into that and much more as we roll till 10 to wrap up the week on a Feel Good Friday on 1620 The Zone. And another. What else conspiracy theory did you have?
Epstein didn't kill himself. I forgot about that.
This is not Theo, by the way, for those just joining us.
Yes, Jeffrey. Theo's
Theo's doing it again with Cincinnati.
I know. I was so mad when he moved to Cincinnati because there's another team that in 4 years or 3 years that we're probably going to have to really, really worry about, and they're going to be incredible. But Jeffrey didn't. Jeffrey didn't kill himself. He was ready to sing. He was ready to tell the world about what was going on, who was a part of that stuff, and then oops, I
knew I should have put some Baileys in the coffee this morning.
There's no way he did it. I mean, there are too many high interest level people with too much money for, them not to be afraid if the guy was going to sing and ruin their lives. So those are my two. Those are my three conspiracy theories. All right. JFK, Jeffrey Epstein, and any questionable NBA lottery that included David Stern. May he rest in peace.
Okay.
League could sure use David Stern right now.
Oh my God. After what Ja was doing yesterday with the guns and everything like that, of course they could.
Hey,
not a David.
So he beat my team last night. Where are the people that went crazy over the Derek Queen, gather and his drive to the game-winning shot? You did not watch Tyler Hero last night. So Tyler Hero had 35. Memphis, Morant hit a shot at the end to beat Miami. And then, by the way, late night, Golden State beat the Lakers. Steph was cooking. Luka was not. But the two old guys in the league, Steph and LeBron, were the leading scorers. But Hero last night, there was a play. He had his gather step, and then he dribbled twice. He established his pivot foot, and then he dribbled again, and they just let it go.
Did you see
your conspiracy theory? Because the NBA doesn't like the new villain in Ja Morant. They weren't going to call a travel on Tyler Hero when he did that last night.
Fair enough. Well, Ja's bucket yesterday, I was half watching the Miami Heat. Memphis game was half on, but that last bucket to win the game was quite impressive. Get to the mid-range.
Huge missed opportunity though for him on that shot. And again, that was, my East Coast team has played a lot better of late. We'd won 6 in a row. He had a missed opportunity.
What, to do more gun celebrations?
Why did he not do the gun celly?
He should have.
He did it earlier in the game when he hit a 3. But if you hit the biggest shot of the night, why are you not doing the gun celebration?
So are you in favor of him just making this his brand? Like he is just the gun guy now?
Go all in. He makes the NBA uncomfortable. And you know what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. So as he does this, and he's already been talked to, and he
got warned.
He got suspended for a gun incident.
Yes.
And he makes the NBA uncomfortable because kids like him, because he's one of the stars of the NBA, but the NBA doesn't know how to handle him. So, will they suspend him or fine him heavily for what he did last night? Because he did it early in the game after you hit a 3, and there was like a pause on the broadcast. They're like, "Oh boy!" But you know what's going to happen?
NRA sponsorships of the Grizzlies. Why not make some money?
In Memphis,
I don't think you're out of the realm of possibility there. Anything for a little
make some money
nowadays.
You watch. So, Memphis is one of those hard knock cities. Okay. I got a chip on the shoulder. Memphis is not for everyone.
I do like
but the people that live in Memphis love living there, and the Grizz bring them great joy. Yep. And Ja Morant is a superstar that is playing in Memphis, Tennessee. Those fans you watch. That will become their celebration.
Without a doubt.
And it will make even more people uncomfortable because Memphis is a very violent city. But the fans will buy into it, and you will see like any big shot hit by the Grizz from now and into the postseason. Everybody doing the gun celebration.
You don't think that there are like street vendors outside of their stadium who already have
selling guns?
Oh well,
Come
maybe
on.
that maybe. But
I was thinking funnel cakes.
I was going to say custom Ja Morant T-shirts that have some sort of gun on it, or him, holding a gun or something like that. That's
with the tag underneath, shooter shoot.
I'm kind of laughing in my head. Just
good idea, ABT.
A Memphis Grizzlies jersey with a little NRA patch like on the right shoulder.
Got to make some money. Times are tough. You don't have to agree with it.
Here's what I respect about Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant is an idiot, and he can't get in his own way, and he can't stop himself from getting suspended and causing trouble. And it's one of the reasons why he should be a bigger star than what he is. He already is a massive star, but in my opinion, he should be even bigger. And it's because the machine won't get behind him, because he keeps doing stupid things like pulling out guns on people and in Instagram lives and whatnot. But I respect the fact that he just doesn't give a damn, that he doesn't care, that he did the gun celebration and they told him, hey, please don't do that again. And literally, without hesitation, the next game does it. Bang. Right in your face. What are you going to do about it, Adam?
It was a water gun.
What are you going to do about it, Adam?
He makes the NBA uncomfortable.
It's funny though that
but when you make a big shot like that last night, that was the opportunity. Not a 3 in the first quarter. Now he also is on edge because he got a tee last night. He didn't like something, so he shoved Burks. I don't know. It's a weird dynamic with a guy that is a star and does things that young kids go, wow. His flair, his dunking, just his ability to play basketball, because he's averaging over 30 a game in his last 10.
Player.
But the NBA, they won't go all in on him because of, they don't want their kids, going into class and, they get a A on a project and they do the gun celebration of the teacher.
Can you imagine you're at a 7U basketball game and a kid hits a 3 and he starts doing the gun celebration?
So this is a big AAU basketball weekend in this town. Wouldn't surprise me. You're sitting there and some little, like fourth grader.
Like, did he pull
Braden from Elkhorn with the
because you know what? And their response will be, hey, I was watching the Heat and the Grizz.
Yeah.
And man, I love Ja. I got my number 12 Ja jersey. Ja did the same thing. I want to be like Ja.
Yeah.
How would you
feel
if you were a parent and
another kid on the
goes,
other team?
I want to be like Ja.
The kid on the other team goes, hey, I wear 30 for a reason. Night after he hits a 10-footer in a fourth grade basketball game. So you have the gun celly and the night move.
Who do you think is wouldn't that be a slap in the face to the NBA if like Ja Morant became more popular than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Because Tatum and Brown they're clean cut. They're awesome at basketball. They're the defending champions. They do everything right. They never get in trouble off the field. Hell, you see how Tatum interacts with his son and how he brings his son around. I mean, he is a glowing example of like what good fatherhood should look like on a national stage. Yet kids cater more towards the guy in Memphis, Tennessee, who's shooting guns at people
because
after hitting threes.
People don't know how to talk about the NBA. They talk about the drama of the NBA.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Ja Morant is probably more appealing in the drama discussion than Jason Tatum, because Jason Tatum just plays basketball and is a good dude, and he's a really good basketball player. But look today, and Boston didn't play last night, so it's not like Tatum had 40. I mean, they won't even talk about Giannis. Giannis had video game numbers last night.
Yeah.
And then the Lakers and the Golden State game. But they'll talk about Ja because Ja is drama and the NBA loves drama. That's why the NBA is uncomfortable that one of their best players, it's not about, man, he put up another 30-burger
and made the game-winning shot, and it was a great game through it. It was a really good game all the way through.
But I think the NBA, there are people that draw drama. Like Jenkins gets fired. And a lot of people think it was Morant that didn't like him, so he got fired. But Morant is the face of that team that's going to be in the playoffs and could have a chance to make a little bit of noise.
Yeah.
But there's the stuff that comes with him. And so he makes the NBA comfortable, where the NBA knows that, okay, we got to probably kind of promote that. But yet Tatum is entirely different. It's just, it's one of those,
Grizzlies
one of
will
those
get 2
odd
NBA
things.
games.
But I also think there is a part of me that, and I like Ja's game, and he's a little immature. But there's a lot of us that are immature. I don't care what age you are. People say, well, he embraces the villain. He doesn't care, I think,
either way,
about what people outside of his posse say. But there has to be at some point, you don't want to be the villain. What's the famous line?
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah. So when people
true.
People say, oh man, he embraces being the villain. There's got to be part of the humanity that goes,
I don't think he does.
Not really.
I don't think he does at all.
Because instead of talking about his game, you're talking about his gun celebration.
I think
Isn't that what he wants to be known for?
I don't think he embraces being the villain at all. I think he's just an idiot who does things that he shouldn't
I'm
do.
going to say idiot. I'm going to say just not smart. Not smart. That's awful. You stick with idiot. I'm just going to say not smart.
Yeah. I mean, no matter how you put it, right?
Words hurt.
His
like the word
brand,
idiot.
his brand has become
Unless Kevin Durant's talking about it. He an idiot.
The guy has been in the league now for what, 4 years? He's a young superstar who has one of the most elite and just awesome packages to watch in terms of entertainment value. And yet, already in his very incredibly young career, we associate negative things with him.
Mm-hmm.
And why do we do that? Because it's just the way that he acts and the things that he does and the people that he hangs around. And so I think like Kevin Durant embraced himself being the villain, right? Because what did Kevin Durant do? He just went to a team that was really, really good already. People got mad at him. He embraced that. Same thing with LeBron. Ja Morant, I don't think is embracing being the idiot or being a villain. I think Ja Morant is just acting immature and making himself be that way. And I think there's a massive, massive difference. And the whole, like the quote, you either die the hero, live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Ja Morant hasn't lived long enough. Like he hasn't been around.
We all haven't lived long enough.
He hasn't been a hero long enough to really be like, oh my God, everybody loved me so much they finally turned against me. He hasn't. He just hasn't done enough for people to really be like, oh my God, I love Ja. It just right out the gate. He's just like, yeah, this dude does dumb things that self-sabotages himself. I mean, he self-sabotaged a lot of the Grizzlies season last year. Now, I know they were really, really injured, and so it had more so to do with that than him being out for an extended period of time, but I don't know.
Was this his 6th year in the NBA?
I think so.
6 years. Wow.
Yeah, it goes fast. Wait till you get older. It goes even faster.
Well, I mean, essentially last year, 2 years ago, he played 9 games. Last year, he didn't play much.
Yeah.
So 4.
Fresh legs.
Yeah, I thought that shot just kind of eked in last night.
It did.
All right, coming up in an hour, the Holy Bowlers of Nebraska Bowling in Pittsburgh, PA, will begin today as they begin their quest in the Pittsburgh Regional. That is at 8 o'clock. We'll follow along on bowltv.com. Also, big day. Congratulations to my friends over at Omaha North in the community, right there by North High School at 35th and Ames. Some wonderful people work inside of that building, and some wonderful people live in that neighborhood. There is a major, major positive joy of sport announcement today concerning that community and North High School that involves the football program. That is coming up later this afternoon. They have a big press conference. The mayor will be there, among other dignitaries. So it is it's something I never thought I would see. It's been an idea that has been shared in the 35th and Ames area, and it's going to benefit the community and benefit the high school and benefit the football program. So good luck to all of them today as they are holding a big deal. Hopefully the weather holds out for them. All right, hour number 2 coming up next. We'll talk some Nebraska football because they talked quarterbacks yesterday. Offensive linemen, right in the wheelhouse of the GBRs of the world. We'll do that coming up after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, Feel Good Friday, everybody. Hey, Gary and Matt. There's Matt, Jimmy, Gary. On this 4th of April, where... Let's fast forward to August 30th. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
So yesterday, I was brought up where would like a game day or the big Fox pregame show be on September 20th?
Oh, yes.
Belichick Frost will get ESPN, more than likely. Well, Nebraska, Michigan have to battle with those people from Bloomington for Illinois, Indiana. College basketball, which Jim Nantz said yesterday will be gone in 15 years.
Sad. I saw that. I didn't read the article. I saw the headline.
2040?
Just stupid.
Once again, shout out to you wearing them right now. Shout out to Omaha basketball. They made it. They only have 15 years apparently to do it, so I'm glad they got in.
Yeah, the clock's ticking on Nebraska basketball to win their one NCAA tournament game because we only got 15 years left.
That's all.
I mean, that's going to change my opinion of putting money into the NIL for men's basketball. It's going to be gone in 15 years.
Or the month of March.
Well, for the better or for the worse, because I feel like you got a front load now, like maybe you invest more than you thought you had invested before because you only have 15 years. We got to make them count while we have them, right?
Football's the biggest winner here.
I mean, just these like massive statements after 1 year of an NCAA tournament where I'm sorry, we didn't get a 13 beat a 4. It's going to happen. I don't know. We'll be fine.
Speaking of NIL, I just thought about this. What if, because there's, again, I hope that tomorrow when the games start, it's about the basketball. I get there's the NIL in the portal, and they will mention that Walter Clayton Jr. was a portal guy, was a 0 star. Florida actually is your Cinderella. The main guy for Florida had 0 stars coming out of high school. He is a down and out on his luck person who fought from Iona all the way to Florida, and now he's one of the stars of the Final Four.
And there's your closer of the tournament.
There's your Cinderella. But in the NIL world and the portal world, which the money is just gobnoxious right now, and there are more portal deals that are being done quicker this year because they've been worked on for a while.
Sure.
What do you think the reaction would be if you are trying to raise money, let's say for Nebraska's NIL, and you strong arm a booster who wants to donate to football with a large amount, but they say, no, basketball needs it. So we're going to strong arm you into your money going to basketball, even though you strictly want it to go to football. How do you think that would go over? In the old GBR fan base.
Oh,
because I'm imagine that it's happened not to a huge extent, but somebody said, hey, could we split the cash? I know you love football, but you know what? Can we help out a little bit with men's basketball? And then the reaction you have to get when you bring up that proposal?
I think the reaction would actually be mature. I think it would be a pretty level-headed reaction, no joke, because you do look at the transfer portal cycle that football had, and you cannot say that they didn't leave any stone unturned. I mean, they went out, they got 16 guys, they addressed a lot of different positions of need, positions maybe where, maybe they didn't necessarily need them, but they added depth to those positions as well. You go out and you get a guy you got 28 defensive backs already, but go out and get a guy like Andrew Marshall, that is a very valuable ad where you went out and you got a dude who can do special teams and who's played at a high level before, but then you also, when you spent money on the offensive line, which was absolutely needed. So I think that if football didn't do a good job spending money and addressing needs in the offseason, and then the athletic department said, hey, no, don't donate to football. Go ahead and donate to basketball. If football wasn't being taken care of, absolutely, I think there would be an uproar. But I think that because football was taken care of and football did get the job done, and basketball is clearly did struggle in the portal and does seem like they need the money when you compare to what they're spending against in the Big Ten, I do think the reaction, and at least for me, would be a positive thing is, hey, this is something that's okay to do.
Well, I don't know. If you're dead set on, for example, the $5 million that was donated to volleyball, it only goes to volleyball. If you're dead set on supporting football, you probably already thought, hey, am I going to support men's basketball as well?
Well, I'm talking from the fan reaction perspective.
Oh, okay.
From the donor perspective, I think the donor should spend the money however the donor wants to spend the money. It's their money. They are deciding to give you, out of the goodness of their heart, to give you these funds to help your athletic department. I think at this point, you should just, whatever they want that money to go to, you should take that money, say thank you, and respect their wishes. Because at the end of the day, donors, it's not their right, or it's not your right to have donors. It's a privilege to have donors. They're not expected to donate to you. They decide to donate to you. Wherever they want that money to go, that's where that money should go.
Problem with the Nebraska men's basketball NIL is they don't have large corporations.
Yeah.
They have to rely more on individuals compared to Kraton, which also relies on individuals, but there are more corporations that step up and have a vested interest and believe in the head coach compared to people believing in Fred. That's the reality of it. You have to work a little bit harder to generate money on the NIL side for Nebraska because there's not one big Omaha business, for example, that says, how much does that guy need to stay? $1 million? We got it.
Sure.
But back to, I was going to say about college basketball. So college basketball just starts, and opening day usually is it's now a Monday. And it's kind of meh. Maybe you get 1 or 2 good games. Mm-hmm. By the way, love what subtly was announced yesterday. Nebraska and BYU are going to play an exhibition series.
Oh.
So they're going to play at Pinnacle Bank Arena this upcoming year and then go out to Provo the following year, which means that BYU, with their bought team and the number 1 prospect coming into college basketball next year, will be in Lincoln to play a little exhibition game.
The potential number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. Be incredible.
But college football, which has that 1-week window where they have no competition with the NFL, where they can play on Thursday, they can play on Friday, they can play on Saturday, they can play on Sunday, and they can play on Monday, usually does it well, and people get the script of, let's try and have a really good, 3 or 4 big games. So I went back and I was looking because I'm trying to map out a road trip that weekend.
Okay.
August 30th, smart move by Nebraska to get out of the opening day.
Yeah.
Because they would get lost. And Nebraska-Cincinnati is at least 2 Power 4 conferences going against each other. So they get out of that day and they move to Thursday. And so they get more of a stage to themselves because they would be going up against this. Have you looked at the opening week? Not week 0, but week 1.
I know a couple of the matchups. I don't know the full slate. I would love to hear it, though.
So you got LSU at Clemson.
It's great.
You have Auburn at Alabama. Not a bad game.
No, not a bad game at all.
Texas at Ohio State, which will be the marquee game. Alabama is at Florida State. Then you have on that Sunday night game, which I wish Nebraska would embrace the Sunday night opener, the night game, because everybody's at home.
Yeah.
Look at USC and LSU recently in Vegas. Everybody was watching that game. Oklahoma used to always try and get into that Sunday night spot because you were probably the only game in college football. It was the Sunday. Most of America has the next day off, so everybody is watching. They will be watching on the 31st, Notre Dame at Miami.
That's the one that I did know about. That one is absolutely incredible, especially on that Sunday game between 2 teams who, look, Notre Dame's going to be good again this year. Miami is going to, they weren't terrible, but then they added Carson Beck. They have that they were really good last year, and then they add Carson Beck, and they have that storyline making that big splash in the transfer portal. And then you have the history of those 2 rivalries, right? I know that Miami, as in the last 15 years, hasn't been that marquee brand, hasn't had that complete success, but it's almost as if you have those memories of the U in 2001 and Catholics versus convicts. That is there were very few non-rival or non-conference rivalry matchups that you can really put on a stage like that where you get a chef's kiss, oh my God, this is going to be great. That's one of them.
And then Monday night is the debut of Bill Belichick. That's a great opening weekend. Now there are other games that get you to go, but good on college football for understanding the assignment that you have 1 week to yourselves and you get to play 5 straight days of college football.
What's it with TCU? Now, 2 of the last 3 years, they get the hot coach in his first game. It's the second time now TCU has been slotted with the, hey, you're going to get a national game where it's going to be all about the other guy and not about you whatsoever. And that was tough too. 2 years ago when they were ranked and they were, I think, coming off being in the national championship, and they go ahead, Dion of the Buffaloes. Everyone thinks it's not going to work. They come out, they beat them. I mean, you're going to have to face that again. What do you think the line for that game is? For right now, TCU at North Carolina, 6:30 on a Monday.
North Carolina 9.5,
-2.5.
Ooh,
yeah.
No faith in Bill coming to college.
I think it's the roster of North Carolina is, at least to the common folk, and at least me, I'm not going to act as if I know their roster, is pretty unknown. So I don't think a lot of people are necessarily fully believing that he's going to have the horses to win right away. But hey, it's Bill Belichick. I mean, if anyone's going to have a coaching advantage and a strategy advantage heading into college football, I mean, it's going to be North Carolina in a lot of instances.
Week 0, they are bubbling in Dublin with Farmageddon is over in Ireland, K-State and Iowa State.
That'll be a hoot.
Why is KU playing week 0? To open up the stadium?
Yeah,
So
they do
They
every
play
year.
Fresno State.
Yeah.
KU plays week 0 every year?
It seems like they have been. Get that extra bye week in there.
See, smart scheduling, Stanford and Hawaii. So when you're jonesing for the early morning game for K-State, Iowa State, you want to finish the night, you got Stanford and Hawaii. The Nebraska
I think
Cincinnati game.
That's the best game of the night there.
Yeah,
by
because Minnesota, which always, because of the state fair, plays on Thursday. They play Buffalo. Ohio and Rutgers are playing.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
nothing there.
Then Friday is the Auburn-Baylor game.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech is at Colorado. That's an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
For Dion.
Rematch of back-to-back national champions.
And then
App State for Charlotte. That's a little sneaky, like, put on TV 3 matchup where it's like two teams that are pretty competitive who've been pretty good as of late going against each other.
I think Coach Albin, who we all know, I think he mentioned that game is Bank of America Stadium.
It is, yeah. It's in Charlotte. Yeah, Bank of America Stadium.
Charlotte's
North Carolina.
on-campus stadium is not that large. And then you have the banger of a slate on the opening weekend. South Carolina and Virginia Tech are playing on August 31st. Now, that is an interesting game because Virginia Tech is starting to turn things around, and we got to figure out about young Beamer ball, but that is Shane going back to that's the Chick-fil-A game.
Oh.
So that game's in Atlanta. But that's a good matchup, South Carolina and Virginia Tech.
There's already a line and an over-under for Texas at Ohio State.
Of course.
Would you like to guess the line, and would you like to guess the over-under? Which is really weird to already put to put a line out there is not like, I don't know, over-under already. Like we're in April. Like,
of all people that are complaining about totals, it's you.
Well,
I
that's a
thought you'd
good
embrace
point. I mean, I just want a more accurate total for when I bet a lot of money on this game.
You will.
This probably be my when I'm looking at the board here.
I think it's probably a
board.
push, but Ohio State's at home, so I'll go Ohio State 3-point favorite.
It's a push. That's a very
That's
good
1.5.
call.
Yeah.
Over under 51.5. I like the over.
Sounds like a good game.
I like the over. There's more.
That game will do monster television ratings because you not only have the defending national champions, they're playing at home, but Texas will be preseason number 1 more than likely, and it'll be the starting debut of Arch Manning.
20-year anniversary of their epic clash in Columbus in 05.
I actually messed up. I had to scroll to the right. Oh, Ohio State -3 is the line for that game.
There you go.
So it's not a pick. I would think it -3 makes sense. Is there more lines here that I can look at? ND -2.5 at Miami. Over under 53.5. That's interesting. UNC -2.5. We already did that. Alabama -10 at Florida State. Be a really, really big game for Tony White. First go at it as a Florida State Seminole defensive coordinator. It's going to be a tough task. But Alabama still has to figure out who their quarterback's going to be.
Tyler Simpson.
There's a lot. It's interesting. I mean, we were going through that Big Ten power rankings of quarterbacks. It is fascinating how many just unproven guys the Big Ten has in terms of who's going to be taking snaps under center. At the same time, a year from now, you could be looking at potentially like 2, and if it goes really, really well, maybe even like 3 first, second round picks at quarterback coming out of the Big Ten in like 2 years. I mean, Sayin, Dante Moore, Dylan Raiola, Aiden Childs, if he has a big year at Michigan State, like there are some legit. Bryce Underwood's another one. Like there are some legitimate, talented quarterbacks who all could end up high in the NFL draft in the Big Ten right now. Just really interesting.
All right, take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about quarterbacks. Alabama, Florida State, because that's the opener of the new Doak Campbell. I wonder how that's going to be to get a ticket. That'd be a good game to go to.
Wait, I can tell you something.
I love, by the way.
We know a guy.
I know that there is the South Carolina, Virginia Tech game is at Mercedes-Benz. I love that these games are on campus.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been cool to go to Cincinnati. Would have been cool to go to Indianapolis. Exciting to go to Arrowhead. But the fact that we are having less neutral site games and more on-campus home and homes, best thing that could happen to the sport. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into some things that were said by the quarterback coach yesterday about his quarterbacks. And one of those quarterbacks spoke and talked about his portfolio that he has of many travels as a quarterback from Northwest Iowa to Lincoln, Nebraska. We'll get into that when we come back. It's Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. Hey, since 1996, a good friend of mine named Pat Moose, he has been roofing homes, not just by himself. He's got a great team at Moose Roofing as they have evolved with the roofing industry, always staying at the forefront of customer care and information and making sure that they do the job the right way when they are taking care of your home with a new roof or your siding or gutters. They are focused on Omaha. They've been here again, as mentioned, since 1996. Roofing systems for residential. They've got roof repair service, commercial roofing. They've got it taken care of. Let's say your roof, and we got spring storms coming up, and damaged by severe weather, or just simply it's showing its age. There's only one name to trust when it comes to roofing, and that is Moose Roofing. With their roof repair, their maintenance, their replacement needs, what they do is they get to know you. They come out, their consultants sit down with you. They talk about what you need. They take a look at your roof, and they just don't stand there and send a drone up and take pictures. They get up on your roof. And if your roof doesn't need major work, they're going to tell you about it. That's what keeps them at the top of the roofing industry in Omaha, is their honesty and, of course, their top-notch work. They are the MVPs of Omaha. They will help you protect your most valuable asset, your home. So if your roof has damage from severe weather, or it's showing your age, or the siding or the gutters need fixed, one name to go to, Moose Roofing. Because, as we all know, the Moose knows roofing. Contact them online today at mooseroofing.com. Alrighty, getting ready for the fall, aren't you, Jimmy? 141 days away, by the way. College football returns. Sorry, we've talked a little bit too much college football today, so we'll talk some pro indoor football. I saw this pop into my...
what happened?
I
saw that too.
Oh, so I think it's a Ralston Arena thing.
Okay.
The headline is the Omaha Beef have fired their head coach and OC despite a title last season and a 3-0 start.
It's like something Nico Harrison would do.
Yeah.
I think the demise and the destruction of the Civic Auditorium and the outdatedness of the Civic Auditorium, so it's in a gots-to-go situation, killed the Omaha Lancers, the Omaha Beef. Talk amongst yourselves.
It's damn shame. It is. It really is. I really enjoy USHL hockey. I went to plenty of Lincoln Scars games when I was in Lincoln. I went to a lot of Chicago Skeel games growing up. USHL hockey is a lot of fun to watch, especially when the guys just don't give a damn and they're just hitting each other. It is kind of a shame. It is. There are games where you go, like when the Steel were playing like USA, those were like skill games. Like those were two really good teams at the top of the league. Like they were playing each other. But then sometimes they would play like Waterloo and they did not give a damn. Like they would just hit each other. Those are fun. The fact that like the Lancers aren't like gotta go to a Lancers game. You gotta go to a Lancers game. Like I would very much enjoy it if it was like a attitude like that and go in USHL.
Hold on, let me look here. They recently snapped their 30-game winless streak. Let me check the standings here. Oh, it's brutal.
That's 30 games is a lot of games to lose.
It's like Purview A&M back
because there is like you see some of these teams in baseball and college baseball who lose a lot of games in a row, and you're thinking to yourself, you're like, how does baseball not baseball for you? Like once, like how does the ball just not roll or the bat, just how does it not go your way? Hockey in some respects is the same way. Like hockey can just hockey for you. Like to lose 30 games in a row and not have hockey at all is kind of ridiculous.
That's what we call puck luck. If you know, you know.
Yes.
The Lancers, and this is the final weekend of the USHL, 7-44, 6-1. How do those loyal fans put up with the ownership, the coaches? Like maybe a Ralston Arena thing. They like have a revolving door of coaches because the Beef play at Ralston Arena. But when the Beef were at the Civic Auditorium and indoor football was new in Omaha, it was huge. The Slaughterhouse, the place was packed. It was like it was
the
an
Slaughterhouse
event.
Is awesome. That is a great nickname.
The beefcakes were rocking after every touchdown.
That is awesome.
It was an event, but it was like the Civic Auditorium. It was like the perfect size. Arena football was still big in this country. They weren't in the main Arena Football League, but it was still good. They had, some familiar names. The place would be packed. It was like crazy. Even when the Lancers will never be on the same level as they were when they were at the Coliseum, in my opinion. They bounced around. They went over to Council Bluffs. The building was way too big. It was a cave. Then they went to the Civic, and it actually was ideal after Omaha moved to was it the CenturyLink? I don't think they were in there when that was the Quest, but when it was the CenturyLink, it left the Lancers an opportunity to play at the Civic, and it was good for them. But then the Civic is in a gots-to-go situation, so they have to move to Ralston Arena, which to some people they think it's Siberia. Trying to drive once you cross L Street, you're like, oh my God, I'm lost. The Omaha Lancers are awful, and it's embarrassing, and it's a disgrace to the people that have stuck with that organization as fans, because the people that go to the Lancers games continuously are diehard fans that have been there since Ted Bear probably owned the team. And then you have the Beef, which have been really, really successful. I don't know what the Beef moving to Ralston Arena, and it's of course a much smaller venue. Mm-hmm. They've grown the sport, or they've grown their fan base.
I told you I did a game when I was with Wichita in the Civic, and you said it was one of the last games in the Civic, and the place rocked.
Hey, the Omaha Beef have had a place. I think it's arena football in this country is kind of, it's not, you don't know. There's so many different leagues. You don't know what league you play in. Like Tommy Armstrong playing for him the last couple of years was a bonus. And the Beef have always really been good. So they've won championships. You just have no idea who they play, what league they're in. That's just wild that they started 3-0 and they fired their head coach and OC.
That is wild.
But
after winning the championship.
But it is a wild, you need to go to a game. It's a wild. So
I should.
I went.
I will.
Was it last year? I went to a game last year. Friend of mine.
Oh, yes.
Friend of mine is a diehard indoor football Beef fan.
That's awesome.
Like he's even gone to some road games, and I'm like, okay, that's
That's
a little
He's
much.
went on the road for arena football?
Yeah, he's gone. I think he's driven to Sioux City, maybe
cool.
elsewhere to go see the Beef play, but he loves the Beef. And
Hey, some people like F1, some people like arena football.
He's got tickets, so he said, "Hey, want to come to a game?" And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I haven't been to a Beef game in a while, so we go over there, and we're probably about 2,500 people in attendance, and you recognize some of the names. And Tommy Armstrong was playing quarterback, but my only takeaway is halftime. So they get done with everything, and there's a lot of stuff going on. They do a lot of on-field promotion. They are towards halftime, and the teams are getting ready to come on the field. And here comes this guy from the Beef, and he's one of the defensive backs, wide receivers. So he's walking towards where we're sitting.
Autographs.
Hops over the boards in uniform and starts walking up the stairs. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of odd.
He wants a pretzel?
Some dude was hitting on his girl
Hell yeah.
in the stands. And so this
her.
dude from the Beef came off the field, jumped into the stands, walked up the stairs to the concourse level, and was going to challenge this guy to a fight. And I'm like, this is what this league should be. This is awesome. The Ralston police should be on speed dial for Omaha Beef games at Ralston Arena. And I was like
Billy Bob.
I was like, is this? First of all, I said jokingly, is this the norm? And then I said, wow, what's going to happen here? Because this guy was livid.
Yeah.
And there were other people say, hey. And then his teammates, a couple of his teammates were coming out of the locker room, and they jumped into the stands to go up and get this guy. And then they came down, the third quarter began. And I don't know whatever happened to the guy's girl and this dude. But then some other guy was like, oh yeah, they have beef. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure they do.
See what you did there.
He goes, it goes back a long way. That guy, such and such. I'm like, dude, how do you know? Yeah, how do you know all
Why
of this
are you
stuff?
invested? Is there an e-news about arena football that
Newsletter?
we don't know about? Can you go, is this the norm? And your buddy goes, yeah, this happens every game. And you come back, you're like, yeah, I became a season ticket holder for the Omaha Beef. Why? Oh, man, you should see the halftimes. You should see what goes on in the concourse. Imagine the TV station, they just have cameras in the concourse at all times. Hey, we got to get back from commercial right now. Those starting running backs about to fight a fan right now. That's great.
So now they have a new head coach and a new OC. They should do a list of the two main tenants over at Ralston Arena, how many coaches they've gone through. Because I think the Lancers have gone through 6 in the last 2 years.
What?
Oh, it's horrible ownership. It's just it's embarrassing ownership.
How do you do that? How do you go through 6 hockey coaches?
You have bad ownership that makes just hires that either you're a buddy or it doesn't make sense.
How are you supposed to set a culture or even a defensive system?
Well, when you're
7-44, 6-1,
bite your tongue.
It's the Lancers used to be the premier franchise in the USHL, and now they're just it's not good.
They're not premier.
It's not good. They won
premier
7 games.
7 games in the USHL is oof.
And I don't know the last time I've ever seen on local TV any highlights from a Lancer game.
That's tough.
I don't even know, in the World Herald, if there have been outside of the standings or maybe a mention of the score, if there's been any story written about the Lancers that was not about shoddy ownership and coaching changes.
That's 6. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to process that.
I think it's
6 coaches in 2 seasons might be one of the more ridiculous hockey stats that I've ever heard in my entire life.
Makes you appreciate Mike Hastings.
Yeah, somehow that made me appreciate Stan Bowman. Somehow now I'm thinking maybe it wasn't that bad. Jeez.
So they hired a new guy recently after they had lost 23 straight games, and they've had 3 different head coaches this year.
Isn't that kind of like when you take that job and you're the 6th guy? It's like marrying a widow whose last 5 husbands have all passed away, all very strange and
the bar's
peculiar
low.
deaths. That is atrocious.
That is so I married an axe murderer.
Yeah, I mean, 6 head coaches, 3 in 1 year. So you have the head coach, then you have the interim, and then you have the interim of the interim? Or did they bring in a brand new guy?
Did
they pull a Dane up in hockey?
I have no idea, but it's pretty rough. you appreciate like the Storm Chasers stability. I mean, their 57th year of affiliation with the Kansas City Royals. Storm Chasers do it right; they're not going anywhere. And you don't have like just what the, but I don't know what the backstory is on the Beef, but that's just kind of interesting. They're 3-0. They're like the best team annually in whatever league they're playing in. But now they got a new head coach. Matt LaFleur, by the way, former Omaha Beef quarterback. Backup. Couldn't even be a starter in Omaha.
Didn't know that.
For a second, I thought you were saying that's the new
Well,
coach. I was like, whoa.
No, he 2001.
Well, if he was the new coach of the Omaha Beef, they'd probably win, a decent amount of regular season games just to kind of fall apart at home in a playoff game.
What happened to arena football in this country? Remember when arena football was huge?
Yeah. San Antonio Force season ticket holder for
the
their
Arizona
entire year.
Rattlers, the Iowa Barnstormers.
Danny White was the coach of the Rattlers.
I'm going to be honest with you. I never had a clue that arena football was a really, really big.
You would have loved it.
Chicago had one of the original teams. Mike Hohensee was the head coach. Oh, it wasn't the Chicago Steel.
No,
remember.
It was. We had
remember the Orlando
we had
Predators,
a really
which were a
popular
dynasty.
indoor soccer team, the Chicago Buzz, and
I do remember that they played at the stadium, right?
My dad,
Chicago Rush.
My parents both had Chicago Buzz T-shirts that they would
The indoor soccer was big.
They were like the sleep shirts. They'd just be walking around in Chicago
Dallas
Buzz
sidekicks
shirts.
at the reunion.
Maybe we don't like being inside because you're right. Indoor soccer. Now, lacrosse has kind of taken over soccer.
I was going to say.
Indoor lacrosse is big, and they've got a national TV deal. But indoor soccer, like the Kansas City Comets at Kemper Arena.
Wichita Wings.
They were drawing sold-out houses every time. And then arena football came in, and arena football had that run with Jim Foster, who founded the league, where they had a national TV contract, and it was unique.
Yep.
And the arenas were packed. And then I don't know if there's like disagreement in ownership, but the next thing you know, you wake up the next morning and there are 55,000 arena leagues, and you have no idea where the Lincoln Lightning are playing, who they play. The Omaha Beef, the Iowa Barnstormers are now not in the AF1; they're in AF2.
It sounds like pro volleyball.
I still have no idea what I was calling.
I really don't think it's that, minus lacrosse. Like, I've watched some couple indoor lacrosse games. Man, they hit each other. They get physical. It's pretty cool. Like, I enjoy watching. Now, granted, I'm not an indoor lacrosse guy. I've watched like half a game, but the half that I watch, pretty cool.
Half more than me.
Speaking of volleyball and Ralston Arena, Love B ended their season last night. DBK was in town.
I didn't really follow around. How did they do?
I think they announced the attendance at 2,000. I don't think they had a very good year.
Okay. From like an attendance perspective or like an actual record perspective?
I don't know about I think the attendance was okay. Now, the Ralston Arena is not a huge arena.
Yeah.
So I think 2,000 to 2,500 looks pretty good in there because I think capacity is 3,200. I don't know.
NRG should build an arena.
The players are better in that league, but the marketing is much better from the Supernova perspective. Like Love B, which, you don't know, are they home this weekend? Or they played a couple of matches at Baxter Arena. I don't think they last. They just did not market that team very well. Like the Supernovas are
they got
a
billboards.
machine.
Yeah, and they got money into it.
Yeah, and I don't know what the idea was behind Love B in terms of promotion, because you look at the talent that's playing in that league, it is some of the best. I mean, you got Olympians playing in that league.
They got Lexi on the team.
Just didn't. I don't know, the promotion in this town. Maybe it's because of the Supernovas. It was kind of like, okay, I didn't know they were playing. Even though, again, it's like the highest of the highest level.
I do think their promotion, and I'm just looking at it from the outside, like I think part of the promotion was, oh my God, look at all the talent.
Yeah.
And I think they thought that the buzz of the Olympians they have and having Lexi and the incredible year that she had would have been enough just to get people in seats, and maybe they spent a lot of their budget or a lot of their league budget on that, and we're like, all right, that is our marketing in itself. But at the same time, like, you're driving on the freeway here, you see Omaha Supernovas billboards, right? And you hear ads on the radio and you hear ads on the TV. Like there are a lot more in your face. And I think that for a sport like that, like volleyball, where it's very much still trying to go, you do need to be consistently reminded of, hey, we're here. This is what we got. This is what we provide. I think Love kind of took the angle of, well, our promotion is going to be all the talent we have. And,
I don't know. I didn't hear, like, you can you can fall into Dodge Street and be able to find a Supernova ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, they give away a lot of tickets.
There's one next to my car right now.
I never really heard like anybody saying, "Hey, I got 500. We're a corporation. Love B just gave us 500 tickets." Like I want to go to Supernova game this weekend. I know a corporation that, they get like 500 tickets for free and they just hand them out.
I know when they're playing. I don't know when the other one was playing.
Yeah.
Because we have commercials for one.
Supernovas are a machine. I mean, they've got a great marketing machine. They are they run it like a professional organization, but quietly their season just ended, even though the talent, the head volleyball coach at Nebraska was there last night. She did a great interview. If you haven't seen it, it's out there on social media. Jake writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. I think this is straight up your alley.
Okay.
About the Omaha Beef. Imagine Matt Nagy as the head coach, but imagine the double doinks that would occur in blow games.
Was the doink really on Matt? I don't really blame Matt for the doink. All right. There's a lot that I blame Matt for. Don't get me wrong. All right. But I don't blame the double doink on Matt Nagy.
That's true.
I blame it on Ryan Pace for not having the cojones to cut Cody Parkey when he missed plenty of field goals during the season, to be like, oh, this might actually be a problem that we need to figure out when we actually get into crunch time for a team that had the defense to win a Super Bowl, that I definitely still have not gotten over. I don't blame Matt, though.
I didn't blame Parcells for Romo fumbling against Seattle.
I do blame Anthony Miller for not picking back the ball up after he fumbled it. After he caught the ball, they would have been inside the 15-yard line. It would have been an absolute chip shot. If he didn't just walk away from the ball and he actually played football and picked it up, it would have been a clear possession and they would have had it.
On that note,
I get it. I can't judge him.
I do want to, we're going to circle back here when we come back. I believe that everybody needs in their life a Jaylen Grahamstad.
I agree.
A human victory cigar. I think every team needs a Grahamstad. I'll explain as the quarterbacks spoke yesterday. We'll dive into that. That's football. It's spring football talk coming up. So alert your favorite basketball people. It's Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Well, you can hold on that football talk. If you know, you know. Underdog is one of the leading sports apps, and you can play now in your state because baseball is officially back. So make every other game day more exciting. To play, you can choose whether a player goes higher or lower on stats. Strikeouts, home runs, hits, more. Yeah. Especially when you pick Shohei to hit a home run, he wins a game. Anyway, you can play with as little as $1 if you get everything right. You can win up to 1,000 times your money. So turn $1 to $1,000 just with your baseball knowledge. So this week on Underdog, yes, I'm diving all in on baseball, but shout out to the Final Four because this is the last college basketball. Wait, I can do the Crown also? That's right. You can gamble on the Crown. Stop what you're doing now. Take out all your savings and just funnel it to Underdog because that's how it works. Download the Underdog app. Sign up now using promo code ZONE to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 of bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on all the fun when you sign up with promo code ZONE. Claim your special offer today. Get up to $1,000 of bonus cash instantly upon first deposit. Must be 19 plus. Here in the great state of Nebraska, where we currently reside. Present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
All right, a little bit later, Matt Verzal from opening day at Wrigley Field, the annual visit, which we'll see how he's doing at about 9:20. He flew to Chicago with his fellas yesterday. Limo Lou picked him up, and they were off and running. Haven't checked in with Verz, but we'll do that coming up on air at 9:20. So yesterday, probably the most extended time of the podium for Jaylen Grahamstad.
Yeah.
Not very often you get the backup quarterback that gets time to himself, but it's a great story. And I said going into the break, and all I could think about listening to him talk yesterday, and you can tell he's excited to be at Nebraska, stayed at Nebraska. He wanted to be a Husker. That's Easton Stick, who I wanted. So from this standpoint, so when Easton Stick was playing at Prep and Nebraska was kind of in and out and recruiting him, and he ended up at North Dakota State, and it ended up working out for Easton Stick. But I've always thought in a quarterback room in college where you get the number one guy, and there's probably going to be a pretty good separation between number one and number two.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a Jaylen Grahamstad, somebody who is talented, but probably not as talented as the number one, but has a skill set, also is happy to help the team out. And if they're not playing, they are not a disruption, and they make everyone around them better. They also are not afraid to just remind people that they're still in the quarterback room, but they're in it for the brand, and they add to the depth, and you never know what happens. You know, they could be called into service. I think everybody needs a Jaylen Grahamstad in their life. The one thing, though, as they were talking quarterbacks yesterday, is do you trust him enough that you would feel comfortable to go win a football game if 15 went down? I'm a nerd. I'm very curious about the backup quarterback race between now and August 30th because Nebraska played with the football gods, and 15 started every game for the first time since Tanner Lee did in 17. I'm not crazy enough to think that is not going to happen again, that there's going to be one game where Dylan's going to get dinged or he can't go. And so here we go. The backup quarterback could be the difference between winning 8, winning 9. But at the end of the day, how much trust do they have to go win a football game if Dylan goes down with whoever the backup is?
What I like about Jaylen Grahamstad is he's, you watch that press conference and what he says about Nebraska and being there. He's very thankful, right? He's very happy. Like he is happy to be a Husker. He does not take his role or the opportunity for granted at all. But he still knows, and he still talks like, hey, I did some pretty damn good things at Northwestern College. Like I won a national championship. I was runner-up in my last year in the national championship before I came here to Nebraska. I impressed this Nebraska coaching staff enough in a summer camp to be asked to be on this football team. I understand that, hey, Dylan's the guy, and he's a lot more talented, and he's the 5-star. But I'm still me. I'm still here. I'm happy to be here, but I still am who I am. And I think the other part of it too is when you got a guy like Dylan Raiola who's been told his entire life, and this isn't a knock on Dylan, this is just the truth, that he is the best, and he's always been the best, and he's always been super talented, and he's always been, put on a pedestal. I think it's great to have a guy like Jaylen Grahamstad who hasn't experienced any of that in his life, who, had to work for all, and I'm not saying that Dylan didn't have to work, but Grahamstad wasn't born or wasn't blessed with those gifts that Dylan has, and so had to grind his way to the point where he is. I think it's good that you have that contrast between those two quarterbacks, and it's even better that Dylan embraces him, that Dylan likes him, that Dylan tells him, hey, I want you to be here. Hey, I need you. And that was a big thing that they talked about, where he was a little unsure of whether or not he was going to come back for another year, and talked about the impact that Dylan saying, hey, dude, no, I need you to be here. The fact that he has those experiences and it contrasts with Dylan, and Dylan, for how young he is, has that kind of fortitude in his head to know that, no, your experiences are going to help me, is very mature, and I think a great sign. The thing, though, is that, and this is the God's honest truth when it comes to Jaylen Grahamstad playing football at Nebraska, you're not going to know until he steps out onto the field. And there's nothing against him, right? I prefer we don't see that day, because you want your starting quarterback to play every single game. But I think the fact that they trust him, the fact that he's seen the ball go through the hoop in terms of having success at a higher level than high school is important. And I like how he carries himself. So I'm not pegging I'm not being like, oh, I'm a Jaylen Grahamstad guy and he's a dude who can come in and make an impact or anything. I just don't think we'll know until it happens. I just hope it doesn't happen.
You think there's real competition in that room?
I don't think so.
See, I don't think I think Dylan had no respect for Harburg last year in terms of like, this is a competition. Like, it's my job. And there's probably a little bit of that hurt his development of, every day.
Not
every
being
day,
pushed or not having that, hey, I got to get out there.
Every day you have to go to work. Now, I think there's a gap between the 1 and the 2. But
big time.
Speaking of 2, yesterday, just listening to Glenn Thomas talk, and what has been already talked about in the spring and what we already know is they have a 2-year window with Dylan. They have a 2-year window because they got to figure out the quarterback room post Dylan Raiola. I mean, his brother is coming.
Mm-hmm.
They're already hot on the trail of one of the top quarterbacks in 27.
Trey Taylor, yeah.
2 years from now. So that would be, ideally, Dylan's got 2 years. And let's be honest, maybe in the portal world, you're year to year with Dylan Raiola.
I think you're year to year with every player in the portal world.
But the quarterback position being the most important.
Sure, yes.
Is you have to figure out, you got 2 years to figure out your quarterback room. So if Dylan gets to where you think he can be, and I think he can be, you don't want to drop off when he leaves early to go to the NFL. So you don't miss a beat. And it's important, I think, in the next 2 years to not only develop either a Davila or a TJ Lateef, because I don't think both of them are going to stay. 2 years from now, they're both not going to be here. Okay, it'll be one. So this is an important year for both of those guys. To one has a year ahead of the other one, in coming from Purdue, even though he didn't play, that's their competition. Like, there's a competition within a competition, in my opinion, in the quarterback room, but they got 2 years to figure it out so that when they hand off the baton, they keep at a level at that position. So I do like they have been very aggressive in recruiting, like the 27 class.
Yeah.
I think they should take more than Dayton Raiola in 26, but they may go high school portal guy, and that may be the plan. But they have a 2-year window at that position to maximize success, but then also to set it up for future success.
I think that there is definitely a buffer in between the second quarterback and the third quarterback. I think you're completely right in the regard that there's 1 and 2, and then there's 1 and 2, right? There is, hey, here's Dylan, here's Jaylen, that's the starter, that's the backup. And then, and that's why they talk about Jaylen as the backup, and they talk very highly of him, and they trust him in that position. And then they know that, hey, because
do you think it's so? I think he's the only guy that has already gone through it, so they have a sample size.
But I do think that there is a bit of a we want to focus on developing Davila and focusing on developing TJ Lateef, right? Because that is a really tough position to put any sort of inexperienced quarterback in to, hey, you got to get better, and these are the things that you have to develop on to be the guy that we think you can be. But you're also one injury away from stepping onto the field, right? It's hard to tell a guy, hey, you're not good at this, and you're not good at this, and you need to do these things to get better, and this isn't going to fly when you're the dude. And then all of a sudden, like literally a play later, you're like, well, you got to go out there and you got to play a high level, Division I football. Like, go ahead. There you go. It's hard. It's a really tough position to put young guys like that in. So I do think there is that benefit of having a guy like Jaylen Grahamstad who's played a lot of football to be right there, and then focus more so on, hey, you got to do your things to get better, to take the baton.
I think it would be a great development if Grahamstad was not your backup quarterback on August 30th.
I do so too.
That would mean because Grahamstad is a good quarterback, and we know what he has, but that would mean that either a portal quarterback or a true freshman, probably more portal quarterback, would have done enough to beat out a guy that you like as your security blanket for Dylan. That'd be the best case scenario in the quarterback room, in my opinion.
I think the position that they're in right now with what they have is totally adequate. It is totally fine to have your 5-star quarterback, a guy that has played at a lower level, who's done a lot of football, who you trust, and then to have your 2 other dudes who you hope are going to become something at the same time. Yeah, if one of those guys just takes in stride what they're teaching them and goes to lengths and then like improves to points where you didn't think they could go previous to that, that absolutely is the ideal situation.
These guys, we know what we need to know about Dylan, but the spring game, not having a true spring game, is the disappointment for the backup quarterbacks. to see Grahamstad perform. Like basically have a battle for the 2 and 3 spot in the middle of a game before 70K.
And I do think the spring game, I mean, you could say, well, they have scrimmages and they have practices, but the spring game brought something that the practices didn't, and that was a crowd, and that was like an actual reaction, and that was like actual pressure. And the fact that, if you perform well in a spring game, people are going to write about you. People are going to critique you. People are going to really look down deep into what you're doing. Like, you can't get that in practices.
First major scrimmage tomorrow. Is that right?
I believe so, based on what it was the last couple of years, and you'll have Rule talk right after. So I think
he'll
that's
have
the
some
case.
news as well when he talks. All right, 2 to go. Hour number 3 is coming up next. We'll do why is it upside down? Boy, why you got uncrustable wrappers? It's on the floor.
That's not mine.
Well, you got to respect the big board. It's on the floor.
Well, I don't want you to see it.
Okay.
What is this,
all right.
Christmas?
We'll unveil it when we we'll unveil the big board.
Oh, you can get an easel
when we come. Yeah.
I didn't buy one, but I've been taking some big pieces of paper from somewhere and then using it to write the big board on.
We'll see the big board coming up next. All right, like college baseball this weekend with the weather that's going to be a lot of baseball. The Storm Chasers are still at home in their opening home opening series against Louisville. Walk-off last night, bottom of the ninth inning, 1-5-3. Cam Devaney hit a two-run homer. Then you have Nebraska Rutgers down in Lincoln.
Cam Devaney's been hot. I saw him play. 3
homers in the last 2 games. So is Drew Waters, who had another home run last night. He also had a Little League home run in that game last night. That was
awesome, but Will Benson, the right fielder for the Louisville Bats, it should have been a single. He dove for the ball and then just went right by him, but Drew Waters should have just, just great inside the park home.
Oh, the game you were at.
The game I was at, the inside the park home.
I was going to say, last night, I was scoring the game. That wasn't.
Oh, no, I was talking about my inside the park.
So you have that. Nebraska Rutgers play down in Lincoln. Whoa, that brought a chuckle. You don't think those are 2 longtime rivals? I'll give you a little nugget.
A lot of hate out
there. I love your nuggets.
Hey, here's the thing. Surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, why did I say that? Rutgers baseball has won 4 straight series against Nebraska.
Isn't that
They're
always
10-2?
There's always those. I like college sports because of this, and it's not just a Nebraska thing, but there are always those weird stats between 2 random teams who aren't rivals, where it's it's been 12 years since Minnesota beat Nebraska at Pinnacle Bank Arena, or it's Northwestern has never hasn't lost. Well, it's Minnesota again, but they haven't lost to that team in forever. It's Kansas hasn't won a game in Frisco, Texas in 13 years. I'm just making that up, but I just always like that those are those weird just college statistics that it just pops up and you're like, oh, cool.
But you would think of programs, if you've lost 4 straight series, it would be Michigan or even Iowa or
Maryland.
But it is Rutgers. I'm over saying, hey, you got to win the series. Nebraska at some point has to start sweeping teams. This would be the weekend to do it, as they are in a 3-way tie for last place. They need to get inside of the 12 to make it to Omaha. Omaha takes on North Dakota State, who St. Thomas is ineligible for the conference tournament. So North Dakota State would be in first place.
And the Bison haven't played in Fargo yet, as we know the drill.
Yeah. So I did a softball game last weekend.
Oh.
North Dakota softball plays their first 37 games on the road.
Jeez.
Yeah,
That's
so North Dakota
tough.
State, I think North Dakota State next weekend is their opener at home.
How many home games would North Dakota softball then get?
4.
Not many, maybe a couple of series.
Yeah, 12? That's
You got 2 weeks to come see the team.
But that league and their scheduling, because of Omaha's field and where Omaha's located, and then ORU, that league, Summit League screws Omaha and ORU with scheduling. They front load their schedule because more than likely the weather's going to be okay in Omaha and they play on an all-turf field and you're going to be able to play. Same thing with you go to Tulsa, the weather's a little bit nicer. So Tulsa or ORU and Omaha always seem to play a lot of home games at the beginning. That's the league because, you can't play baseball in Fargo or Brookings in April.
Or Sioux Falls, yeah.
Then you have Kraton, which you'll be able to hear. Are we on the zone tonight for Kraton baseball?
I heard Connor, but I wasn't listening to what he said. I just know they'll be at the Chuck at 6 o'clock.
So they play UConn this weekend, which has been the premier team in the Big East. But Kraton this year will be the beast of the Big East.
Plenty of sections still available.
Well, that's the disappointing thing of it. I mean, if I would have told the college baseball fan in this town 15 years ago that there would be a conference weekend where Nebraska would be playing Rutgers and Kraton would play in UConn, you'd be like,
what happened?
Where'd Wichita State and Oklahoma State go? But so that point is this series this weekend, and UConn isn't as good as they've been, and they've been the top dog in the league. This series this weekend would be the ideal series for when Kraton gets their own stadium, which the softball is about done. You live in that neighborhood. You drive by it?
I haven't.
So I don't think they've started baseball yet, but softball is about done. This would be the ideal series, 4,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
You probably get 2,700 in there for a Friday night. It looks full.
You've had a good start to the season.
Yeah.
You're bringing in a team that has been really competitive, a team that you got to beat in the conference if you're going to win the conference.
So you would avoid, I mean, what are they going to get? The weather's a little, people on Friday nights here go to a fish fry.
Chilly.
So you're going to have 23,000 people that show up as empty seats.
Mhm.
But when they get the on-campus facility,
COVID
I'm
throwback.
telling you, that is going to be a jewel. That's going to be such an asset to Kraton baseball. And I wouldn't even play Nebraska games at TD. I don't know what their lease is, but I wouldn't play Nebraska there because you know why? More Nebraska fans will be there than Kraton fans. You could have your own home field advantage and a nice little compact, cool-looking ballpark.
I like how Sokol is such a great venue for their team.
Yes.
No, I mean, especially when just Charles Schwab Stadium is just way too big. Just way too big for what Kraton baseball is trying to do and the crowds that they're bringing in. And it's a shame because it causes a laugh factor sometimes for a team that is actually having like a really good year,
What do you mean?
Like, you kind of, oh my God, Kraton baseball looks great and they're playing a really competitive team. Yet they, their stadium looks empty. It's just not a good look. But, like you talked about, like if you get a smaller stadium, you get more people in there, make it more convenient. Like that's a really good step in that direction.
Do you think that the downtown ballpark has worn off as a draw, that people go there just because of the ballpark?
I wouldn't know. I haven't, been in the area too long, but I mean, it's a nice ballpark, but I think that over a period of time, you kind of get to the point where if it's not are
there any facilities in this town that, and most of our facilities are a little bit older, where going to the venue is still the draw? Because when the downtown ballpark opened up, and I'm using Nebraska and Kraton as an example, like you went, you had to go there. It was brand new. Now, when Nebraska and Kraton play, depending on the weather, but still it's about 8,000 that go to games. And, Nebraska and Kraton haven't been at the same time bangers like they were when they would put, a full house in Rosenblatt. I don't know if we have any venues that are left that host sporting events in this town where you still go because of the venue.
I don't know either, but at the same time, it's like, I think that is a pretty rare thing in sports, like just in general, like it is.
Two ballparks are opening up home openers today. Wrigley and Fenway.
Well, but that's where I was getting at, right? Like Wrigley and Fenway have had those teams there for over 100 years. They are mainstays of Major League Baseball. They have a ton of history. They have so many fans who have grown up with that team. So many people have so many different memories of players and whatnot, where, because it is housed in such tradition that so many incredible baseball moments have happened there, that, in and itself, it's a draw because you want to experience that aura. I just think that, when you build a new stadium, unless that stadium has all of the bells and whistles and newest toys, and you're constantly investing to make sure that it's up to date, it's either you have to do it that way, you got to keep it new and innovative, which is really tough and expensive to do, or it's super, super old with a lot of tradition. Those are the only two ways I think that you can get I want to go to that stadium. I want to be there. It's really tough to just build a stadium and not invest in it and not keep making it new. And then at the same time, it's really hard to just win a lot of games every single year and be a constant dominant force to the point where you do make the venue a tradition. I mean, it takes years and years and years to do that. So I just, it's a difficult thing. But you look at US Bank Stadium, that's a draw. You just go to that venue. But why do you go to that venue? Because it's new and they keep investing in it.
And it's also unique.
Yes.
The cookie cutter downtown is only appealing when the College World Series is here and it's packed.
Yeah.
Because there's no uniqueness to it.
There really isn't.
But US Bank Stadium is unique.
Yeah.
Like Target Field is unique. Now, maybe Baxter Arena and the Chai next year will be unique because both are going to have new scoreboards.
Well, and I think so too, with Baxter Arena.
Got to go see the new video board. Got to go see the new ribbon boards at Baxter Arena, which are going to go all the way around.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, I think too, having Exarban Village right next to Baxter Arena, right, and having that accessibility of if after you go to a game and you want to go and have a drink or go to a couple restaurants or whatever you want to do, that's also a draw in that regard, having that kind of district, which is why we see, that's the new wave, right? In terms of every time you see a new stadium being built, what's also being built around it? Restaurants, bars, a district, the power district, this and that. that's another aspect where you got to build that around the park so people can go there and hang out. And then you go, oh, hey, tickets are only $22 today. All right, cool. I'll go in. I'll go and watch the Bucks play. I'll go and watch the Braves play. I'll go and watch, the Bears are going to try and, well, I don't think it'll really happen with the Bears, but you know where I'm getting at. But I mean, I feel like if you're not innovating and you don't have that tradition, and if you don't have that like surrounding area, it's invested surrounding area.
I'll go the opposite way though. Best thing that happened in Nebraska athletics is they stopped this idea of Husker Village and started focusing on winning.
Yeah.
There you go. Because the Atlanta Braves are 0-7. They just made a monster investment in Battery Park, where maybe the Braves brand is about everything that is not on field.
Well, that's
that's Trev's thing.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued, but his thing was like Husker City, like all the other stuff that had nothing to do with winning. I will give credit to Troy Dannon. In 1 year, he has put the focus back on the bottom line is to win in whatever sport. Most importantly, in football, we're not going to be like, you know what? Hey, let's build Husker City across the street, or let's build apartments in the new South Stadium. No, how about we build a team that wins? Okay,
you go to the game.
The brand isn't, hey, Husker City. The brand is Huskers win. Thank you.
I'm sure everybody would love to have a venue that you would like to go to that place to just be there and enjoy it and watch the game or whatever. But you mainly want to go to a venue because you want to see your team win.
Yeah, that's why you don't go to those venues and go, there's a game going on. Those venues are built because the people that are going to that game are going to be there before and after.
I know that too. Yeah.
I
was both ways. There definitely is a both way aspect of it.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
For the unveiling of the big board?
All righty. Here we go. Jamie, I'm going to hand it to you. And then if you want to put it in front of your camera.
Oh, yeah. How do we do this? Yeah, we experimented when you were here.
I've not been here for a big board
so this
unveiling.
We tried that camera, and it's okay, but I like this better.
So this is Matt McMaster's big board, part 3. All right.
Okay.
Let's break it down. Number 1, the Washington Capitals play the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. The Blackhawks are one of the worst teams in the NHL. Capitals having a very good year. They are in the playoffs, and they are chasing history. Alexander Ovechkin is 2 goals away from tying Wayne Gretzky's record. He's 3 goals away from breaking it. Fun fact, he's 2 games away from playing the same amount of games that it took Wayno to set the record. So Ovi, I think this is a guarantee. The Hawks suck. The Capitals at this point in the year, all they're trying to do is get Ovi to score the goal. I almost went as far to say, hey, this is maybe this is a 2+ or like a 1+ goal, multiple goal night, but we'll get an Ovi anytime goal -135. Okay. Secondly,
that game in Chicago or DC?
I believe it is in Chicago. Let me check very quickly here on the CBS Sports app.
Do you think if he is getting close that they shut him down? And make sure that he does it in DC?
It's in DC tonight.
Okay. It's a hat trick, baby.
It's in DC
hat
tonight.
Trick to set the record.
All righty. So now, what is SAAD, you might ask? That is the Santa Anita Derby, okay? We got some ponies running to set the field for the Kentucky Derby. This is a points race. For those who don't know, there's regular season in horse racing. There are certain races where you get points. If you get top 20 in points, you end up in the Kentucky Derby field. These races, especially down the line, are very important. Saturday's race is one of the most. 10 Kentucky Derby winners have come from the Santa Anita Derby. So it's a 5-horse race. There's not a lot of horses here. There's not a ton of money to be made. Some would consider this a 2-horse race, right? The number 1 is a horse called Journalism. Okay, Journalism is a 6-5 favorite at the Santa Anita Derby. Currently, some would argue Journalism is the Kentucky Derby horse, that they are going to be one of the favorites for the Run for the Roses. They are competing against Citizen Bull, a Bob Baffert horse. Okay. Bob Baffert's top runner. Okay, so it's the 1 and the 2 are competing. Their odds aren't very great. You're not going to make a lot of money off of that, but you might see, whoa, I have a 1-4 and a 2-4 exacta box, right?
Okay.
So that means you want the 2 and the 4 to come in first or the 1 and 4 to come in first. You might be thinking, what is the 4 horse? That is Barnes, okay? Barnes as another Bob Baffert horse. It was an incredible as a 2-year-old. It is a pace setter. It has a little bit tough times with distance, and its last race, it lost to journalism by a length and 3/4. It was its first time going over a mile.
Many of us lost to journalism.
Yes. It was his first time going over a mile. The jockey and clearly the horse had a tough time with the extended difference or distance there. So you're thinking that they've learned its lesson. Let me tell you something right now. This horse ran a 6 furlong in 1 minute and 10 seconds. That is
fast.
lightning quick. This horse can run. So if you Barnes is a 3-1. So I'm not picking any horse to specifically win because you got to bet a lot of money to do that. We're doing a $7 exacta box 1-4-2-4, a total $28 bet. All right, moving down the list. Now we're in the final 4. Houston is +5.5. I like the Cougs. Here's why I like the
that
Cougs.
as well.
Jay Wright had a Q&A on CBS Sports, and he talked about the Houston Cougars and Kelvin Sampson and said, when I played them in 2022, we would go in the huddle and we would not talk about offense because there was no point. They play incredible defense. There's nothing you can do, no set you can run, no adjustments that you can have to upset the Cougars. They're just incredible. And so having Kelvin Sampson, I think he's going to, I don't know if they're going to win, but I do think that their defense is going to give Duke the most trouble it's had all year. You'll also see an and/or there. A lot of people like the under. I kind of like the over. Duke has scored 70 points in like almost every single game this season, so they're bringing up their half. I don't know if Houston is really going to be able to beat Duke like 65-60. They're going to have a really good offensive performance. So I do think you can get the over with a backdoor cover with the Houston Cougars.
Okay.
All right, moving down. Florida -2.5. Follow my guy, BE. I just think that Auburn and Florida play very similar games in terms of their physicality. I like Florida more than I like Auburn, and Florida's got a closer. His name is Walter Clayton Jr. Elijah Martin is going to be ready to play. Janiah Broome is saying that he's going to play, that he feels 100%, that the elbow is fine, but we'll see how that develops throughout the game. I pick Florida to win the championship. I think 2.5 is too small of a line. Give me the Gators. And then I have baseball. Chicago versus San Diego tonight. You go, what is it? NRFI. Is that some sort of investment? Is that a hedge fund? Is that a stock? No, it's not. It's called no run first inning. Okay. Shota Tominaga is on the mound today. Vasquez is on the mound for San Diego. Both these teams haven't had a lot of first run innings or has scored a lot of runs in the first inning this year. The weather in Chicago is awful. The wind will be blowing in. It'll be cold. The ball won't be bouncing around. So I don't think a run will be scored in the first inning. So that is the big board. Ovi, anytime goal -135. Santa Anita Derby, exacta box 1-4-2-4. Then we have Houston +5.5 in the over, Florida -2.5, and the Chicago Cubs no run first inning. That's Matt's big board.
Now,
love it. Arts and crafts. Let's go.
Hey, I put a lot of hard work into this sucker.
Now,
I'm here for it.
Are you going to follow your advice?
Yes, I will.
With a financial?
I'm betting. I am betting these. They're all not going to be like, $15 to 10 unit plays because this would be a lot of bets and that would be a lot of money for me. But I am doing the Santa Anita Derby for sure. The $28 dual Zacta boxes. And I want to tell you something right now. I don't have the cojones to bet Ovi more than one goal, but he is scoring tonight. He is scoring tonight. There's no way he's not scoring tonight.
Seems like that story also should be a bigger deal.
Why? Exactly. I'm talking seriously. Like what we should be like, we did Aaron Judge when he broke the record, when he broke the American League record. Like we should be cutting into every Capitals power play and like putting it on like national TV.
Now it is a little bit tough. You got you cut in and you carry the whole game, which they are doing, but it's either true TV or it shows up in odd places. He is one guy, and probably because he was a rival with my team and he was trying to steal all the thunder from Sid the Kid. My opinion has completely done a reversal, a 180 on Ovi. And he's now one of my favorite Russians. I have a couple of favorite Russians. One of them is white. And the Ruski, who we all thought he's going to hang on to break this record. He actually has hung around and played pretty well. So I'm excited for him because I now like watching him. And he did something that is one of the coolest things that it kind of, because of the sport of hockey, it didn't get the attention it deserved, just like his race for Gretzky, which he's about to break the all-time goals record.
That's a
that
record
Wayne Gretzky held.
we said was unbreakable.
But he did one thing. So Marc-Andre Fleury is going through his retirement tour with the Wild. And the Capitals and the Wild were playing last week. And the game ends, and that's the last time that they will face, like Ovi, for example, will face off against MAF, Flower. And the Capitals were leaving the ice, and Ovechkin goes over to the bench, and he's hollering at his guys to come back out on the ice. And people initially, because I was watching the game on TV, they didn't know what he was doing. And what he was doing is he brought his teammates back on the ice so they could line up and all shake Flower's hands, which I thought was so cool. What happened is Ovi won a Stanley Cup, got drunk in public, and everybody went, that guy really is funny.
Yeah.
And he's also one of the best hockey players of all time. And to break this record, which I think would be really, really cool, and you can debate, well, was it easier then or easier now? Whatever. It still is an incredible record to be broken. I think it's because of the sport. It's not getting the love that it should. And even the buildup, you hardly ever hear it talked about.
No.
And maybe even on the talking head shows, when the record is broken, there will not be much of a talking point. So I hope you're right tonight. It would be great at home if he was able to break the record on a hat trick. That would be wild.
This is the team to do it against. The Hawks suck. Now, I'll tell you something right now. What Barry Trotz, did for Alex Ovechkin in terms of getting into his head and being like, hey, you got to be a leader, man. Like, you're not the young Russian anymore. You're not the exciting player. Like, you are the face of this franchise. You are the face of this team. You have to be the leader of this team. We are not going to win a Stanley Cup, and you will never win a Stanley Cup unless you are a leader. And I love watching those pregame handshakes that he has in the locker room right before the Capitals are going down to the ice. His personality shows, how everybody loves him shows. He shows his love to all of his guys. And like, that guy's a living legend. If you're a rookie and he's talking to you the way he's talking to you and joking to the way that, he jokes around with these guys, it means something. And so his development, not only as like just a hockey player, but as just a leader and a human, has been incredible to see. And you made an incredible point. Coming into the year, we were like, oh, he's just holding on. He's just on the roster to break the record. This is kind of just a charity case. He's actually been a key contributor on a really damn good team, and they got a shot to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Ovechkin, my favorite Russian hockey player, I would say Fedorov is second. Jimmy, favorite Russian athletes, Maria Sharapova or Anna Kournikova?
Ooh, tough one. Can we throw Arvydas Sabonis in there?
Well, now that would be one.
He could pass.
Pavel Datsyuk.
Sergei Fedorov. Oh, yeah.
Alexander Mogilny.
Oh, yeah. Ivan Drago.
Artemi Panarin.
Okay.
I love Bread Man.
I will have to go close to home. Are we're drafting Russian athletes?
Yeah. I think so.
Gino.
I was about to say, how did he not go
Jenny
Gino?
Malkin. Well, because he wouldn't be Ovechkin and Fedorov.
Shesterkin. I love
Igor. Jimmy, it's you and
start-
Russian athletes.
Let's see.
You can also just draft any Russian.
Oh, I missed one too.
Yeah. Well, we'll hold off on Stalin and go with Pavel Bure.
Oh, Russian rocket.
That's a good one.
You know what? I will go because he is kind of, a little Hall of Fame career. Nikita Kucherov.
Ooh.
I like that. Jaromir Jagr.
Nikita Khrushchev.
Ooh, Gorbachev.
Yeah.
The Kremlin.
Okay, this game
Just
just
the
ended.
building.
Game just ended.
The building.
Leningrad, the whole city.
Just the building. I'll take the building.
Coming up a little bit later, Matt Verzal from Chicago, who has had a white Russian or two probably this morning. It's Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. High school football question. This might end up as a poll question. Who is recruiting Nebraska harder, IMG Academy or Nebraska?
If you look at 24/7 Sports, I'm pretty sure it'd be IMG Academy.
IMG Academy has taken a lot of interest in prospects in 26 and 27 in the state of Nebraska of late.
We listen to this show.
We need to keep our kids home. No going to prep schools or IMG Academy.
I'll tell you something right now. That single-handedly wrecked Illinois and specifically Chicago high school basketball. You know, when it stopped becoming about going to your local high school and playing for your local public school, and it started becoming about like going to Florida, going to New Jersey, going to California, and investing in these trainers and whatnot. That's when just those movies, and Hoop Dreams and just the stories and Aguirre and Isaiah Thomas and Anthony Davis and Jabari Parker and Derrick Rose, and John Shire, Pat P. Bev, all those stories have kind of gone away because you have a lot of these kids who are incredibly talented who aren't playing in front of the people they grew up with. This
is the time of the year in this town where the prep basketball academies start kicking tires, or for the first time, I can't remember. IMG Academy is kicking the tires aggressively in this state. I don't think that's ever happened before. Please put some respect on our basketball and football in high school here, please. Thank you.
I got a question though. Look, you want them to stay home. You need them to stay home. You can't have them go to these academies. It is a bit of a compliment, in a certain way of the fact that these places that are just looking to win and are just looking to develop and are just looking to say, hey, look at how many D1 guys we have, or looking at how many NBA or NFL guys we have. It is a compliment to the fact that they are now looking at the state and they are interested in the prospects because it speaks to the quality, but you want to keep them home.
There is a part though. So, football wise, basketball is a little bit different. And we don't produce as many basketball players on a regular basis. I mean, we just have gone through an incredible run, but now it's going to be light for a little bit. But in football, we're producing a lot of high-end Power 4 football players, and they are getting attention and they're getting significant offers. So that's what you have to weigh. Like if IMG Academy comes to you and says, hey, we'd like to move you to Florida, and we'd like you to play for our national team to help your development and your recruiting ability, does the parent's prospect with the prospect say, you know what, I think we can get the same kind of offers playing here? Like you're telling me I go there and all of a sudden Alabama is going to be looking at me. Why can't Alabama look at me if I'm playing in, Laurel, Nebraska? It's just, it's the first time I can recall that IMG Academy has started to kick the tires on Nebraska kids aggressively.
It is also too, there is a risk for sure going from Nebraska to Florida, going away from your family, living in an entirely new state at that age, and then playing against, and there's.
It's kind of like the USHL, right?
Yeah.
You go and you live with billet families. You move away from home. Maybe you could play high school hockey in Minnesota, but you're like, you know what? I want to play against better competition on a nightly basis.
But what also factors into that too is that there is the familiarity between recruiting, right? But then you have a lot more familiarity with these coaches here where you grew up with and the relationships that you develop, and you kind of know your standing, right? And this isn't not just a Nebraska thing, but just a country thing, right? You have a better understanding of where you are and who you're working with when you stay in your state. When you go off to that state, you take that risk of potentially being buried in the depth chart, or not having a great relationship with that coach, or getting homesick or regretting that. And so there definitely is maybe sometimes people might think, oh my God, IMG's coming out to get this guy. That's a slam dunk. You got to go out there to that national academy and get recruited. But there definitely is a double-edged sword and definitely a risk to doing that stuff for sure. And, you hope that people consider that when these guys come and recruit and stay. Like I said, it's great that Nebraska has the talent where people are interested in do that, but got to keep them in state.
Texter says, how did you not draft Lenin in our favorite Russian draft?
We were getting there, but the Kremlin kind of
said that guy is huge with the kids his age. Kids your age apparently are all on Lenin.
Yeah. Vladimir. Great puppy name.
Lenin? Who's
Russia?
Yeah. Not John.
Oh. No.
Yeah.
I'm not huge on Lenin.
Are you huge on Russia?
No, not really.
They
Not
teach
really.
you about Russia in there in that little school you went to?
No, not at all. We just heard about the Cold War,
The 72 Olympics. Oh,
and
men's basketball got robbed.
well, I mean, the most Russian history I've ever watched was Miracle. That's kind of my introduction to Russian history, if I'm being honest with you.
I wanted to go to Moscow after seeing the Goodwill games when I was young.
I
Looked
remember
pretty
them,
cool.
yeah.
I did. I wanted to go to Russia to visit. I don't
Rocky
think I want to
Ford
go there
made me
now.
think about Christmas in Russia. My dad was
Yeah.
like, "No, San Antonio's good."
Yeah, we learned about the arms race and race to the moon, and then nothing really. It wasn't violent, and then that was it.
Yuri Gagarin, I believe, was the first man in space. Russian.
I would. You could tell me any Russian name ever, and I would nod at you and say, "Yep, that sounds correct." sounds. My Russian history and my history in general, outside of the fact that they killed JFK, really isn't all that sharp.
It's not all dark. Andrei Kirilenko is fantastic.
Andrei Kirilenko is fantastic.
Yeah, rest
That
in
is a good
peace.
one.
Way too early.
Wait, really?
Thought he died.
I hope not.
AK-47 passed away.
Did I just pull a
Matt McMaster?
Me?
Hold on, dead or Canadian?
He's Russian.
You got me scared here.
Is he still with us?
Oh, he's still with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
44 years young.
Maybe I should have said
44, damn.
Maybe I should have said his NBA career.
Yes, his NBA
which
career.
ended way too soon.
Yeah, well, when we're on that topic, rest in peace, Brandon Roy.
He is not Russian.
Well, his NBA career ended too soon. I'm sorry, I was just taking pivots.
I should have said, though, in our draft of Russians, I should have said, my wife. Missed out on that opportunity.
My wife.
Where were you guys at exactly 1 year ago
Say here.
today?
Probably here.
1 year ago today,
There is a moment.
Probably here with you.
I was drunk.
I was not drunk.
Okay.
I had coffee.
It was the day before my birthday.
That's what you do is you get drunk?
Well,
Are you going to get drunk today and take your big board and donate all your money to the state of Nebraska?
Wherever we go to karaoke tonight,
You're
I will
taking
just
the big
have
board?
the big board behind me. Just like, hey, before I sing this song,
bachelorette party.
before I sing this song, I just want to let you know that Alex Ovechkin's going to score a goal
Oh, I know
tonight.
why you were. Last year was your 21st birthday.
Yes,
That's
22nd,
why.
22nd birthday. 22nd
Okay.
birthday. But still, yeah.
That's
why I was drunk.
Maybe you were celebrating this. It is I think it's a top 10 moment in the history of Nebraska basketball. Happened 1 year ago today. Maybe there will be
I know.
another edition
I know.
if Nebraska is able to beat Boise State and then beat Central Florida or Villanova, cut down the nets late in the afternoon on Sunday at the Crown in Vegas and celebrate like there's none other. Can you imagine Bryce Williams with another $200K in his pocket? Bottle service. They would make the Chiefs and the Cleveland Cavalier parties in Vegas after winning titles. They would make it look. Can you imagine Bryce shirtless, Cale Jacobson up there shirtless as well, Andrew Morgan? People are like, oh, corn and soybeans, and they're just grinding. And all of a sudden, it makes even the Paul Pierce party look like it was like vanilla.
It's Thursday next week, and they're like,
and then James Harden shows up.
They're still in Vegas. Team hasn't come back yet. We haven't seen Pat Norris in weeks.
Hey, it's the first time we've seen Gavin Griffiths in a while.
Oh yeah, buy your tickets at Vivid Seats.
1 year ago today was the cockiest three-point contest final shot of all time by Keisei Tominaga. Remember, he was in the three-point shooting contest, which Stephen Ashworth and Lauren Jensen were in last night.
Tommy, too. Tommy was there.
Made it to the semis.
Yes. Then you had Tominaga. Remember his final three? So he's just whipping them from the corner. And as he shoots the last one, it's in the air, he turns around and looks at the crowd. One of the more cocky moments in
Japanese
Nebraska
Larry
athletic
Bird.
history.
Did you see his Mad Ants video as of recent, where he just was doing a bunch of trick shots with the social media team? I mean, just launching it from half court, launching it from behind the basket, launching it from the bench. I mean, the guy, I don't know.
Can he not come back? Does he not have any more eligibility?
No.
Why
Oh
doesn't
my
he just?
God.
Why doesn't he just sue the NCAA?
If we do revisionist history, man, if that rule
Next
was
Kirk Flood.
was just 1 year sooner, and Keisei, because he played it, in JUCO, he had one more year. Imagine with this team.
Yeah, they'd be getting ready to play
Florida
tomorrow.
So I've changed.
They would have won the NIT tournament yesterday.
I've changed my opinion on Ovechkin. I like Ovi.
You like Tarasenko?
That's a good name.
No, because you know what?
Fedotenko.
His great start to his career, and then he got money impacted him, and he should have finished his career as a Blue. But
I
that's
couldn't
on him.
agree more.
So Tominaga, when Tominaga first got to Nebraska, I thought, give me a break, because I referenced him, and my nickname on the show was Palms Up Guy, because Tominaga would complain about every single foul. And even like if a teammate, like he'd pass the ball to a teammate and they would turn it over, he'd be Palms Up Guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you are killing me. But then 3 years ago actually, his second year in Nebraska, my opinion changed, because he stopped being Palms Up Guy, and then he started being cocky, and I'm like, I can like this guy. And then, of course, his year last year in Nebraska. But yeah, Palms Up Guy, this isn't going to last very long, because he was a whiner. Beginning of his career, he was a whiner at Nebraska. And then, like, they found a way to incorporate him into the offense, and he looked more like as a teammate, and he made everybody else on the floor better by him just continuously moving and cutting. But I'm like, okay, we've reconciled. I'm a Tominaga fan.
Isn't it incredible, though, that, like, it was, let's be honest here, it was kind of an accident, Tominaga Mania, because they weren't using him like that until Gary and Bandamel went down.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they were a very different style of offense, and it was almost as if you were kind of being like, okay, I wish they set more screens for this guy or found more ways to get him wide open, because with what you have on the court, you can't just dedicate your entire offense to what this dude is doing. And then they were literally forced to do that. They were like, we can't do anything else other than that. And Fred just goes, all right, Keisei, run around. And when you have the ball and you like to shoot it. And then it just turned into this incredible phenomenon from a guy where, if we're being honest, when you walked into the stadium and you saw him during warmups, you're like, oh, I wonder like how many minutes he gets, to like, oh, no. People are coming here for him. This place is selling out because of him. This team has become must watch because this guy just plays a style of offense that, frankly, we haven't seen other than the dude who's probably the most impactful basketball player of all time, Stephen Curry. And what was incredible about Keisei was just that it just seemed like, and watching these games, you'll never get another feeling like every time he shot the ball, you thought it was going to go in.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. You can't beat that.
Is he one of the most likable, cocky athletes that ever been at Nebraska?
Yes, because he's so unassuming.
Well, talk about unassuming. So I saw him, Sam Griesel. They had played 1 year together.
Friend of the show.
Sam Griesel went back to his high school to a high school game. And he took Keisei with him. And I think because of Keisei's size, like all the kids were coming up to get his autograph. I'm like, there's Sam Griesel. And there were some that were taller than Keisei. And it was great. But he signed, and then as his popularity grew, he signed more and more autographs.
Good for him.
I became one of those people.
That's all.
Well, because I wanted to see I wanted him to sign it in Japanese, but he wouldn't. So it's just a regular.
Why wouldn't he sign in Japanese?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I didn't present it very well.
I've seen
when
him.
I was asking for an autograph. Yes, I asked for an autograph. It was at an event.
I've seen him out. I've seen him out before. And
you saw Caitlin a couple years ago. Same thing.
It was one of those things where it's like, man, like you see him out 2 or 3 times and there was just always a crowd. And let me tell you something right now. He handled it so well, always with a smile on his face, always having a good time, always enjoying himself. You could see some of the other, like he was always with the rest of the team, right? So you could kind of see them chuckling in the background because he was just it. He couldn't like trade it. He couldn't sell it. He was it. Like people wanted to be, even if like, you know, there was a language barrier, it did not matter. There was always a crowd around.
You're right. Why couldn't he be on this year's team when they win the crown? Because a shirtless Keisei.
Oh my God, that would break the internet.
I mean, in Vegas with bottle service, and he would be DJing.
Yeah.
I mean,
can you imagine if
it would make Nebraska cool again? People might donate money.
Feel like when Shaq used to rap when they'd win.
When they won the Diamond Head Classic, can you imagine a picture of like Bryce with the oar over his head and Keisei like going like this? Like, you know, that would have been, hang that in the Louvre.
Joey writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, I was in Phoenix for the Final Four last year. Keisei's performance in the three-point contest was the talk of Saturday night. I approached fans from Purdue, for example, who loved Keisei, and they were drunk acting out his final no-look shot. Larry Bird was very appreciative.
Yeah.
More people are doing the Larry Bird one finger now.
Yeah.
Never thought Nebraska would be talked about that at the Final Four.
You think he asked in the locker room which one of you MFers are coming in second, like Larry Bird did?
In his voice, his little quiet voice.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm not doing
yes,
an
I do think he did. Yes, I do think he did.
I do. Probably. The guys, I mean, it's just very, very few times you find a guy that's like, how can you hate him? How can you hate him? Unless you're Indiana. Then I could see, if you're an Indiana Hoosier fan, then I could see why you hate the guy.
That picture, by the way, is displayed in Lincoln in a particular place.
It's pretty sick.
It's like when I went to Seattle and there's a picture of Marshawn jumping in the end zone with his hand. And
yeah, Keisei Tominaga and Marshawn Lynch, birds of a feather.
Same damn person.
Same dude.
How do we not get them doing a podcast together?
Oh, that Marshawn Lynch, Theo Vaughn, Keisei Tominaga. Book it.
What do you think that wedding will be like?
Fun.
Out in North Platte.
They'll play taking
It's
care
out
of
in
business.
North Platte.
Everybody will get on the floor.
Fiance is from North Platte.
Electricity. You think Tyrese Halliburton will be there?
Oh, and they'll play George Strait Across My
He's
Heart.
in the
and
Mad
dance.
Ants or the Indiana Pacers affiliate. You know, maybe you think Curry will be there at the wedding?
Steph?
I don't know, man.
Or Dell.
If it's
Dell has more chance of Dell.
Do you think the guy that wears the Sec Henry jersey that sits courtside will be there?
Yes.
There's a name.
All right, Mike Schaefer's coming up after 9. Matt Verzal from Chicago, opening day for the Cubs. Buckle up. 1620 The Zone. Do we have a Nebraska bowling update?
I was I forgot to register for the USB-C Bowl Watch TV plan. I can do that right now during our break, and
having a watch party this week.
I will bring us an update. But they have what do you don't tee off, you bowl off.
It's the roll off.
You roll off. There you go. Against Kutztown?
Correct.
Cool.
Yes. Did a great job.
Thank you. Never heard of that school before.
It's a school in Pennsylvania.
Well,
it has nothing to do with Pittsburgh. I just know they're in Pennsylvania.
Oh, they're in. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I guess that does make sense.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, I know, because they're
playing
in Pittsburgh.
They're all in Pennsylvania right now. Here we go.
Whenever there's a school I don't really know, I just assume it's some preppy school on the East Coast. I know that's probably an incorrect generalization, but it's probably out there in the East. Probably in Maryland or Pennsylvania or Delaware.
They play lacrosse.
Or Rhode Island. Or maybe on like the DC, Virginia, Maryland border or something like that.
How do they not have live stats for bowling?
They have live stats for everything. Don't they have live stats for rifle?
I don't know. I don't know. I think the stats are pretty easy. See a target, hit a target. Closest to the target, who hits the target wins.
Swish! I'm going to be honest with you. Like I had to be taught how to score bowling. I feel bowling can, if you don't know, it's not just 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Like, there's multipliers and there's 10 pins to hit. You play 10 frames, yet the max score is 300. That doesn't seem simple. I'm just saying.
Let's see if their Twitter account is updating.
It should. I'm signing up for bowling.
Holy Rollers.
But I'll pay some money for it. It's no big deal.
Okay, here we go. We are underway.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Oh, they just listed their starting five.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, why don't they put some respect? Coach Klempa, him and I are like that. Nebraska athletics, like baseball the other night. They come to Omaha. I got 3 people doing Twitter. Okay?
They do have a lot of people.
Bowling has been going on for 54 minutes.
And they're a damn dynasty.
And all we have was the tweet of the starting 5.
Okay.
Good. The first 5 out.
So I got it. I have it right here. I'm watching them bowl right now.
Hear that play-by-play.
In game 1, they're up 152 to 110. 152 to 1. So left to right, Nebraska touchdown. 152 to 110, 174 to 120, 145 to 102, 134 to 145, 146 to 110. So currently Nebraska leading in 4 out of the 5 bowlers. All right, she's got a big spare draw right here. I think it's in the 7 pocket. I'll come back. All right. That's a spare. That's a big one.
So let's see. They win. They're at 1:30 today, and then tomorrow at 8 a.m. And then if they win there, we are on to Vegas.
See, now you got bowling at 8 a.m. that leads into the Crown, that leads into the Final Four. That's a pretty good day.
They're doing a pretty poor job of trying to label who's bowling at what time here. This is like a tripod camera set up for people who are bowling. Nebraska's down.
Will tweets at me. He goes, big Nebraska basketball fan. Can you explain to me? I know it's the Crown, but I am enjoying it because I am a Nebraska basketball fan. How come Nebraska doesn't have their pep band? Out in Vegas, they have their cheerleaders and the mascot, but no pep band.
They go to bowl. Why not? They should be getting. They should have social media people. They should have columnists, reporters. They see the content.
All right, Kayla Starr's about it. She got a spare on her last friend. It's a big bowl. That's down.
I didn't have her.
One only had a 9 here. She can hit a strike here. This would be. I mean, she hits a 50. Kayla Starr's strike here. It might be Good Night Irene in game 4. They might take a lead. She lines it up. It's on the right line. Back. Strike. Wow. Kayla Starr. Talk about a clutch gene.
By the way, speaking of the Crown tomorrow, Nebraska plays at 12:30. And thank you to Tom K. What's his last name revealed? We were trying to search for the fan.
Yes.
The fan is actually from the York area. Grew up in Benedict, Nebraska. fan that was on the Georgetown bench that got moved to the Nebraska bench during the game the other night? Rob Hyden. So if you know Rob, ask him what he's doing tomorrow. What will he be wearing, and will he find his way onto the Boise State bench? Will there be at any point that Rob from Benedict, Nebraska is sitting next to Leon Rice?
Ed Cooley makes an addition to his coaching staff. Rob from Nebraska. What a get for the Hoyas.
All right, go to next. Mike Schaefer stops by. Nebraska wraps up week 2 of the spring ball. Again, Matt Rule speaks tomorrow. We'll have some things to speak about. We'll talk to Schaefer. Plus, the last hour includes a trip to Wrigley Field, opening day, and Matt Burzon. This seems like a good Friday song.
We're from the same hometown.
I think this is a great song. Like you're cleaning up the house before the pregame, like before everybody comes to the pregame. This is the great. Like you're getting ready. You're kind of in the mood. You know, you're moving the cups.
You're getting ready to go out tonight.
Yeah, this is. I don't know if this is the best like pregame, but it's the pregame song.
Working on your hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm locked into bowling right now. Like no, I'm not making a joke. This is actually like. How they're doing it, it's just instant action, like just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Brenna Hartzler, she ended game 189 total. Had a really impressive 8-pin, then spare, and then 9 pins to end her round.
Is that the only one that's done?
She's done, and then Callan right now. I don't know. I can look up her first name real quick. She just missed a strike there, but she's the first one that's done. Anna Callan. So she's got 2 more bowls left in game 1. Hartzler has a 73-pin lead over the person that she's matched up with on Kutztown.
How's the crowd? What's the weather like?
The weather is fine. It's indoors. There's an American. There was an American flag to the left of the screen. It is not moving in or out. It's actually just still. So no.
Well, I mean, that would be if like the air conditioning was blowing.
No,
that'd be a home alley advantage.
I would agree. The crowd, I don't have the volume turned up, so I can't really hear if there's a crowd mic or anyone behind them or anything. You're just looking at.
What are the celebratory picking up the 7-10 split or a strike?
Nope.
Are we fist pumping? Are we chest thumping?
Can I be honest with you?
High-fiving?
This Nebraska Cornhusker team, they're killers, man. It's like another day. Like, act like you've been there before. Violent. Every time there's a strike or a spare, they just walk back. They go in line. Someone else picks up a ball and hits another big hit. Like
There's no high fives?
There's a couple like boom boom, but a lot of these athletes are very like they're locked in right now. Like there's a lot of serious faces. Here's Anna Callan right now. So she just picked up a spare. And now she's looking to end her round. She's a total of 193 right now. So she can break 200 with 7 or more pins.
Ed says, just tuning in right now, what in God's holy name are you blathering about?
She just missed it. 202 for Anna Callan. I mean, they're killing him right now. I mean, this is absolutely no mercy from the Huskers currently.
Is that real?
Yes.
Of all
days. I'm sending an email right now. I was wondering why.
So, on the verge of getting Matt Verzal, I'm going to, you know what? Hey, life does not start and stop at your convenience. Our phones are a miserable POS. Our phones are down. So, we're trying to call Mike Schaefer, and it's busy. And we have Verz, who is lubed up in Chicago for our annual visit on opening day.
And we need a Western Union telegraph.
And the you know what? Just F it, dude. Let's bowl.
And now back to bowling. Here's Matt McMaster.
All right, so Kutztown just had a strike.
1 second, Jimmy. You're probably going to have to let Schaefer and Verz know that we are.
Can
they call in?
No, that's why I was on my phone. I was trying to call in.
Hold on, let me see.
Because I had a theory. Because
bang, split. That was big. She's in a tight one right now. Let me go to the roster because I see her last name, Kayla Verstrait. She's actually in a tight match right now with the Kutztown bowler. She just hit a massive spare. That was big. So she's done. So she's 157. Oh, Verstrait now. She's fine. She can break. So.
That's what you get when you call our phones right now.
Thank God you brought the big board today, in case you missed it last hour.
Anna Callan. So Hartzler finished 189. Callan finished 212. Verstrait has an opportunity here. She can finish 214. Kayla can with 10 pins here. I mean, this isn't even a competition. Do you know how many games they play in bowling? How many?
I do not.
Is it best of 5?
I don't know.
She just
you're obviously not a golfer.
Obviously not. 214 for Kayla Verstrait. I mean, they got 2 bowlers that just broke 200.
You know what? I think they haven't shown it on bowling TV.
Yeah.
But I believe that Coach Klumpa's like pre-bowl speech went something like this: sometimes you eat the bear, and sometimes, well, he eats you.
I think his speech was, they're about clicks. They're about clicks. They're about social media wins, right? We're about what's on the field.
It's all about the 6 inches in front of your face.
Coach Klempa, if we die, we die. Caleb Brennan just Brenneman on the other team on Kutztown just finished with a strike for a 205. 4 strikes in a row.
Hey, nobody F's with Jesus.
John Turturro tried to tell us.
So Kayla Starr actually is going to end up losing her bout. Man, she was commanding that. And then Brenneman, woof, 4 strikes in a row to end at 205.
As I've told a lot of people, I don't blame anyone for the loss of my legs.
Okay, Lieutenant Dan.
Some blank took them from me in Korea.
Oh, there you go. I was right. I was there.
I think Jimmy's vibing with what I'm doing here.
I don't know.
I don't think you've seen that movie.
No, is this like the Big Lebowski? Is this
Yes.
what we're, okay. Yeah.
This is our concern, dude.
Hey, while you're over there watching bowling, I'm perfectly calm, dude. Calmer than you are.
I mean, dude, I'm not calm right now. I mean, Kayla Starr just ate and guttered, and so now Brenneman is going to take the match from her. And now no, she choked. Martin.
Here's the thing.
Saromsky for Kutztown choked there. She needed a strike. Here comes Martin. Oh,
feel the urge to listen to some Credence all of a sudden.
You ever wonder what makes a man?
I know what makes a man. So no, I haven't wondered that before.
Is it being prepared to do the right thing, whatever the cost?
I would say so.
Isn't that what makes a man?
I would say so. I think that's some great fortune cookie wisdom.
Oh. Okay.
All right, Nebraska's gonna absolutely. They're not gonna sweep, but they're gonna end up winning this first game against Kutztown.
It's all about winning.
Shout out bowling and Paul Klempa.
Then we bowl this afternoon, bowl tomorrow, stay alive, go to Vegas next week,
and we get Coach Klempa on.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
I think we'll have a couple of bowlers as well.
That would be incredible.
Monday could be very eventful.
But that's a great start for them.
In all seriousness, they played a very, very good, like very composed, like very confident, like first game. The lowest score came from let me get her first name, Jillian Martin with a 181.
There you go.
I mean, is that what strawberry shortcake?
No, that's pimento cheese.
Excuse me?
It looked like I
No, she's eating a sandwich. It's Dylan Dreyer. She's at Augusta.
I saw some grape jelly. I thought it was a strawberry shortcake.
That's pimento cheese.
Yeah,
she's eating taste of the
pimento cheese sandwich.
Dude, I had a half second to look, and it looked like grape jelly. I thought it was a strawberry shortcake.
But as she had 2 pieces of bread in her hand, what kind of strawberry shortcake you been eating these days?
Dude, the one in Gibson's and Rosemont,
that damn
in Chicago,
diabetes.
Lord, I looked purple. Like it looked like strawberry shortcake for a half a second. She does not look like she enjoys it, and I don't think she doesn't look like a person that eats a lot of sandwiches. So,
I got a follow up.
Literally, have never crossed my mind when watching her on TV.
Hey, Mr. Treehorn over there, you're treating objects like women, man.
You think she eats sandwiches?
What?
She's a very beautiful woman.
You're going through it now with your relationships.
Yeah, let's
let's
parlay it into this. That's great. With the lanes, we have a break of the lanes, so we can have a little tunnel talk here.
Like, what kind of women look like they don't eat sandwiches? Everybody eats sandwiches. It's the American thing to do.
She doesn't look like she eats a lot of sandwiches.
Not many people do, though.
She had
I eat a lot.
She had perfect form on eating that sandwich.
She did.
That she was two-handing it.
She get the elbows bent.
Yeah, but a real veteran has got the 4-finger grip on the corner. That's just gnawing on that thing.
Whatever his friend Guy does.
You know how good chef's a good chef. They break an egg open with one hand, right? They just go boom, boom. That's how you know
done that before.
Someone's been around the block when it comes to like cooking, right? When it comes to eating sandwiches, when you got someone who's gripping that thing and it's one-handed and it's staying together perfectly, and you get the perfect amount of meat, condiment, and vegetable in every single bite with one hand, that's how you know. I can tell she's an amateur because she uses 2 hands.
Usually 2 hands is a good thing.
I knew that was coming. Ooh, they have a light show. They have a light show going on. They got Pink and purple and blue lights going on.
When
right
this
now in
started with
halftime.
conspiracy
Let's see
theories,
this.
you knew this was going
Look at
off
this.
the rails.
Look at this light show.
Okay.
It's a light show. It's high production value. Over at the NCAA tournament bowling.
So what happens next? Do they have the next 5?
I think they are.
Did Red Panda come on between matches?
No, I think they're probably having a team huddle, or they're re-gripping the balls, or they're.
So, but they won.
They won the first game.
Okay.
All right. So the team
My
then
phone
goes
just
to the
started
arcade to play NBA Jam for 20
NBA Jam
minutes
is such a great arcade game, and I'm so mad that it took me until I was literally 21 to play it as an arcade game and not as like a iPod game, because I used to play it on the iPod.
We played it at the arcade at the bowling alley.
Patrick Ewing and John Starks. That was my go-to NBA Jam combo.
Ooh,
every
John
single
Starks,
time.
Too soon. Game 7. He missed again.
I killed with Ewing and Starks.
All right, we will take a break because during that break, we're going to figure out these phones.
Yeah, we have to. Legitimately.
So you've never seen Big Lebowski?
Yeah, I haven't. I got to see it.
It's good and thorough.
Well, I know. I'm going to get killed.
It's really not a movie you can quote on this show.
Sure.
So I tried to edit a couple of things.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but incredible things about it, and I know you're talking about Donnie, right? From is it Donnie? I should probably quit while I'm ahead. I'll just go
mark it 7.
I'll just go ahead and watch the movie this weekend.
Donnie,
the bowling guy. What's his name in the Big Lebowski?
Dude.
Oh, it's just that's just his name.
Duder or El Dudorino, if you're into the whole brevity.
I've
thing.
seen his quotes on YouTube, but I have to watch it.
There's, for this sake of discussion, there's Jesus Quintana. There's the dude.
Okay.
Okay. Then there's the Big Lebowski, who are not the same person.
Yeah.
And then there's Walter.
Okay.
But there is Donnie. Donnie is in it, yes.
There you go. That's what I thought.
Because he is the walrus.
Yeah. Cuckoo, could you?
I can't wait to watch.
Shut up, Donnie. By the way, that also leads to tie into earlier. Then when Walter responds to Donnie and Donnie says, "I am the walrus," he does drop some Russian names. So it actually does work out perfectly.
This is an incredible show. Just sign it all together. Sounds like we had a script for it today.
Then you have Bunny Lebowski. Brant.
Was the Kremlin in the movie?
No.
But Ralph's was writing a check for milk. We've all been there.
And then there was Sherry and Log Jammin'. She was in the movie.
Oh, they're getting back to bowling. Here we go.
We're going to a break. 16:20 The Zone. Any positive update, Jimmy, on the phones?
No. That's why I came back with Creed, because that's all I got.
Tom says call Vers and put him on speakerphone. I don't know if that'll be.
It wouldn't be the highest quality radio.
All right, well, this is a little disappointing.
That's an understatement. I've been told for
he tried
literally weeks about how legendary this call is and how much fun it is.
Verse 51 on Twitter today. I'm sure he'll have a couple of good updates like every year.
We will not be able to water the bamboo, which was an interesting line. That's the talk of Donovan Raiola yesterday. As he was discussing offensive linemen, and we'd like to talk to an offensive lineman that may or may not, be in good shape. Did I sense that the most important position on Nebraska's offensive line through his eyes is center?
Yeah, you got that correct. He talked about the center. First off, Donovan Raiola is not like at the pressers in terms of you're making a power ranking of guys who are going to talk the most or reveal the most.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely is on the lower end of that. That is probably the longest he's talked about one singular question, was just the importance of the center and how just intricate it is and how important it is and how it's like a special, he called it a specialty position, which it was one of those kind of really cool moments where you're like, oh, thanks, Donovan. I'm now smarter. I now know more about football, I think that's the read. I mean, he didn't really talk about the tackles and talk about the guards. He goes, no. I mean, this is going to be a tough thing to replace. So it'll be interesting. That position itself will be interesting because you had a guy like Justin Evans, who was the backup center 2 years ago. And when Scott went down, he was the one who came in. And then, Scott ends up coming back, but then Evans, because of the injuries they had and the availability on the offensive line, ends up playing guard and had a pretty good season at guard. And so now you've established him good enough to be at two positions, good enough to be a starter at two positions. But then you have a guy like Rocco Spindler who played a lot of guard, but definitely can move over to center. And you look at, how impressive he seems. He seems like he's the type of guy who can do that type of specialty work. And he's got the body and he's got the length and he has that championship pedigree where it's almost as if when Donovan was talking about the center position, it was rooted a lot of inexperience, right? Seeing a lot, understanding a lot. He's a guy where if we're going down the line of the Nebraska offensive lineman, he's seen the most, he's played the most, he's been in the highest situations. And so I think that is a very, I know we talk a lot about the tackle spots because Dylan Raiola is such a asset and you have to protect him.
One of them has been, there are two starters on the offensive line that have been secured. One of them is a tackle. Carry on.
Yeah. But that center position is incredibly intriguing from the fact that there were moments last year where it seemed like they weren't running the right thing or they were checking into the wrong thing or they were running right into stuff. And so, and we hear a lot about, Coach Rule talked about a lot how early in the year, Dylan was checking into runs, checking out of runs, having a lot of communication. That stems from also what the center is seeing. And so kind of having that relationship of having those different checks and then also having the quarterback sees what he sees. It's an important position. It's an important position. It's intriguing.
So you're saying that Ben Scott saw stuff and he would relay it to Raiola?
No, he would make, I misspoke there. The center makes his checks. Dylan makes his checks. It's really important to have two guys who know how to make checks.
Two spots are already guaranteed on the offensive line, and the offensive line might have 4 of the 5 that are already guaranteed. Guaranteed is not the right word. So Eli Pritchett, 100 and some days from now, will be your starting left tackle. Rocco Spindler will be your starting right guard. Ideally, you'd love to have Sam Sledge be your center, Justin Evans be your left guard, and probably because of returning Gunnar Gatula be your right tackle. But Pritchett and Spindler will start. He didn't get into it yesterday, and maybe he will. Eli Pritchett, change of scenery has really been beneficial. I think he's wrapped up the left tackle job.
Okay.
And, Spindler yesterday was kind of revealed as you're going to be the starting right guard.
Yeah. think it's always a good sign when you can bring in transfer portal guys and you have a vision for them and they match that vision right away. And especially when you're considering the amount of dollars that you invest in these guys. These guys, I mean, they weren't top of the line from what we've heard and, maybe what we know, but they definitely were. I mean, none of these guys are really cheap. I mean, there's not, especially when these well-known guys who are getting recruited from multiple different places, you make an investment on these guys. And it's almost as if it's a disappointment if those guys don't lock up those positions. To lock them up this early is great.
The Spindler one is not a surprise. He was going to start at one of your guard spots no matter what. I mean, it's not like he was a backup at Notre Dame. He was a guy that contributed. The other thing will be, and so I keep saying Sam Sledge at center. And that would be the most ideal situation because I don't think Justin Evans you want playing center. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I think they had some issues when he was there in snapping. But you have three guys that could play center. There's another intriguing prospect along with Sledge is Maciejczyk. Like it's finally time, like go time of, okay, what position are you going to play? And then how many snaps are you going to get? But they've done a good job, I think, in the interior offensive line. They've done a good job of guys that can maybe play center, but can play guard. And if need be, like Lutovsky is now a tackle that can shift out and play tackle. And you'd be like, okay, we're not going to miss, we're not going to have the just disruption that we had last year when we lost one of our starting tackles.
Sure. And I think, it's very interesting to see the cross training that has taken place across the roster, right? You talk about multiple guys who can play positions within the offensive line, but then you have multiple guys on the back end of that defense, right? That they are really hammering home. Hey, we're teaching them how to play corner. Mm-hmm. We're teaching them how to play safety. And I think it's one of those things. I mean, that's how you build depth in a certain way, right? I mean, it's not all from just playing different positions, but like the more you can do, the more value you bring to the team and the more flexible you can be with certain things. And when S hits the fan, and S is going to hit the fan for every team this season when it comes to injuries, you need to be ready, and you need to have multiple guys who are ready to step up.
Jimmy, hit the breaking news sounder. Does it mean the breaking news sounder is the phones have been fixed and we can talk to Brewers in Chicago? The poverty program in downtown Omaha has spent a little bit of money. That's true. How are they going to survive? Ryan Kalkbrenner left and they dropped the program. They're going to play club basketball this year.
Max joining us.
Owen Freeman from Iowa. Nick Graves from Charlotte. Josh Dix has committed to Kraton, according to his agent from Priority Sports. So he is back in the Big O after playing prep basketball at Council Bluffs. Transfers from Iowa, ends up at Kraton. So are they
resuscitated the program?
Blue Eyes?
Nice. The Blue
Freeman
Eyes.
and Dix are the Blue Eyes?
Well, I was about to say Jayhawks. That's probably
the other school.
Yeah. Probably not the best way to put it. What a pickup. It's a damn good pickup. 14 points per game, 50% from the field, 42% from three. I mean, the guy is the perfect fit for this offense.
The poverty program downtown, I repeat what I read, has spent some money because Dix's, the thing that was mentioned when he was at KU was in the ballpark of $2 million.
Good for them.
I don't need to spend that. They spend
Put
on
that bag down. Get your guy. I mean, that's big.
This will be very much a busy day of Kraton basketball news. And the big news is, maybe not the biggest news, Josh Dix is transferring from Iowa to Kraton. That's a great pickup. How are the people in KU taking it?
I'll have to check the message boards later, but
I'll ask the people in Champaign.
Yeah,
get some boots on the ground there.
All I've heard is that spring football has gone well. Everybody's healthy, and they're going to win
15
games next year.
Do you think so? There's a lot of
one.
I mean, KU's roster. There's 6 that are leaving.
Yeah,
and
in all seriousness, there are a lot are leaving.
Do you think we're getting some clarification on KU's struggles? Is that their shoe rep did a really good job back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, now that everybody can pay, now you have to evaluate. You have to be smart, do your due diligence. You have to adopt the professional model. Need a GM. Got to get the right fit, because if you don't get the right fit, you end up like Florida State
How do you
football
think Bill
last year.
Self would do with the GM?
Oh, I don't. I'll be the GM. I don't need a GM.
I don't know.
Unless
I
it's
feel
Nick
like that.
Baugh.
I feel
Nick
like a
could
lot
come
of these
back
guys,
down.
it'd be a little tough.
He would do it really well if his sneaker friends could start get back to funneling players to Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would do a hell of a job.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
Three stripe life.
The funneling is being toppled by you want that much money? Okay, here you go.
We got oil in West Texas. We'll pay you whatever you want.
Hey,
Apparently got oil in Omaha.
Been a good start to the portal for Kraton.
Been a great start.
I guess now they won't be able to play club basketball. Have to go back to the Big East.
Guess so. Darn.
It's unfortunate. Poverty program.
There are going to be some people in Omaha that are poor now because they're paying for players.
Mm-hmm.
So big hit
That's
to the
tough.
rec center.
Yeah.
It's a huge pickup.
Max giving back his whole salary to them. That's just, what are they going to do?
He's going to work for free.
Yeah. He loves the game.
But for how long?
Mm.
We'll come back and we'll wrap the show. It's Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back in. Put a wrap on the Friday. We apologize for the technical difficulties of the phone, so we do not, for the first time in 8 years, we will not be going to Wrigley Field to talk to Vers. The news of the morning in the portal world with the Final Four coming up tomorrow on the men's side in Tampa, or San Antonio. Women's is in Tampa tonight. All the coaches are down in San Antonio hanging out. Josh Dix transferring back to the Omaha metro area, formerly of Council Bluffs AL, who his last high school game he played here suffered just a horrendous leg injury, but then worked his way into being a regular in the rotation for Iowa and had a really, really good year. This year as a shooting guard, he has committed to Kraton out of the portal, one of the bigger gets. Again, Kraton's had a good run. This has been a good, since their season ended 2 weeks ago. They have made 3 top additions, and 2 of them have come from the University of Iowa, so it only makes sense that Kraton and Iowa should play again. They played a couple years ago.
That's a fun game.
Only right.
That was a wild game. That was just like
9 o'clock game.
nonstop. That was like straight out of the Crown where there was no defense. You just went up and down the floor and just making shots.
Well, no. The Crown is no defense, but there's a lot of sloppy turnovers and bad passes and just, things rolling out of bounds. That was actually a up and down the floor efficient game of basketball. I'm sure. I don't know if it's a compliment to be comparing things to the Crown, but I mean, it's a hell of a pickup.
It's April basketball.
I mean, when you always know that you're in good company when you see the right teams competing against you to go ahead and get a guy like Josh Dix. The right teams were competing to go and get Josh Dix. And it was like, Matt Rule, I know this is a football thing, but like Matt Rule's talked about like, hey, it's nice to be in the conversation with those teams that you want to be, right? And Kraton has had a ton of amount of success. It's like they were in the conversation with the right teams and they ended up getting their guy who fits that mold, especially after the addition of Nick Graves, really, really well. And I think there is definitely some worry with Graves, the Charlotte transfer portal edition, his inability to shoot the 3. I think adding in a guy like Dix kind of takes that weight a little bit off that load and puts it more so on him. And it's going to be a really good opportunity for him as well to get better.
Then you add him to what they have coming back. And I mean, Jackson McAndrew is going to take the next step.
Yeah.
Fedor. So it's been a good offseason. Cindy emails. She goes, heard you talking about Josh Dix. I was at the game in January 3 years ago when the injury happened. So playing for Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Suffered a broken tibia and fibula, I believe, in the game.
I was wondering if that's what you're...
Well, because like people were covering, I don't remember who they were playing, but people that were covering the game immediately tweeted out like they had so the ambulance came to the high school during the game. It was a horrific injury. So good on him. I mean, you didn't know if he's going to play basketball again. And he was one of the best high school basketball players in the state of Iowa. But he found a way to resume his basketball career over in Iowa City, and with the coaching change, goes into the portal, got a lot of attention. Nebraska briefly kicked the tires, but it was Kraton, Kansas, and Illinois. But the talk was at KU is that was going to cost $2.4 million.
Wow. And talk about that. Like that's the fun stories of high school basketball too, or basketball just in general. You have a guy who suffers that terrible injury, like you said, you don't know if he's going to play basketball again. Now he's a millionaire. I mean, and that's
set up for great stories next tournament.
And I know that like everybody, like, there's a lot of people who dislike NIL in the portal, and there are some things that you lose with the charm of college basketball. But these are some of the benefits you get of these stories of guys being able to just provide better for not only themselves, but their families and go through that perseverance and make a bag. So it's just like, good for him. Good for him.
Expect Nebraska's portal activity to pick up when the Crown is over.
I hope.
There could be, if you were going to leave on the current roster, you don't want to be a disruption and you're playing for money.
Yeah.
So you stick it out. But maybe there could be a guy or two that decide I'm going to go into the portal. But in terms of acquiring talent, Price Sanford appears to be a lock for Nebraska. I imagine that will come out next week when Nebraska is back and the dead period is over and you will hear more about visits instead of Zooms.
Yep.
So even though it is a little bit quiet, I think that has to do with they are in Vegas. It's not like they are not working on the portal and setting up visits for this upcoming week. But their attention is on the basketball. Well, they also spend part of the day talking to prospects like Markel Sutton. Yesterday was on a Zoom with them from Omaha, who has looked at Kansas State, LSU. I think Kansas State's in a good spot for Kel. But like, for example, whether we were tongue-in-cheek or not about Cale Jacobson, I don't think he would throw his name into the portal to say, hey, what can I get, and then come back to Nebraska. I think Nebraska will take care of him to find a spot for him that he's comfortable with on the roster. But a guy like Gavin Griffiths, what does he do?
I don't see a spot for him on the team.
I mean,
so
he's a name that would it surprise you next week if
no, not at all. And also too, I think that you look at a guy like Price Sanford, doesn't he kind of fit that role of what Griffiths was kind of supposed to be, that dueling spread, 3-point shooter that you can really play a 4 in or a 4 out, 1 in or a 5 out, type offense. He was supposed to kind of develop into that guy or be that guy right away, and he just hasn't. And Sanford is proved to be that guy in Iowa, and that's the thing about the portal, is that you can go in and you can get a guy that you think, all right, we can develop and we can, get this guy to where we think he could be. But at the same time, that same time next year, you could probably go and get a similar guy if it doesn't work out for you. And unfortunately, that's the cold reality of what Gavin Griffiths is probably going to have to face. He wasn't able to be that dude and fill that role. They're going to go out and get someone who can. And that is the cold-blooded edge sometimes of pro basketball that has now seeped its way into college basketball because it's a money business.
All right, Final Four tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be a lot of college basketball news. Today seems like a big college basketball news. Just in the world of coaching, if Porter Moser goes to Texas A&M and the Oklahoma job opens up, it could get wild in the next week. I mean, it's been kind of, but it's kind of settled down. But with Texas A&M open, if Porter Moser goes and the Oklahoma job opens, there'll be some more dominoes that will fall to fill Oklahoma that would open up another job.
Yeah, and the top of the portal is kind of filling itself out right now. You still got to wait for RJ Lewis to see where he's going. But a lot of these top 25 guys have, found their destination. I do think
because more are using agents, and agents have been working through back channels before they officially got into the portal.
But once you get past like Malik Renew, who is the 28th prospect and 24/7, it opens up. There still are plenty of top quality prospects that you can go out and get. Well, and when this dead period is over,
you got 8 teams that are still playing college basketball.
Yeah,
and
great point.
4 are playing in the Final Four. The other 4 are playing for money. So Monday could be a big drop into the portal.
Yeah.
And if you have coaching changes still on the horizon,
because
you could have guys that leave and are in the portal that you would not expect because their coach has just left.
Well, another thing too is the cannibalization right now in college basketball in terms of coaches, because we're in a process of, okay, Texas A&M is open. Now Oklahoma's open. What Power 5 guy are they going to get? What Power 5 are they going to get? And then you kind of do that shake and dance all the way until the point where one team goes, all right, we got to bite the bullet. We've run out of time. We can't get the guy we want. We'll promote from within, and the next year we'll look.
All right, looking at you have Florida as a 2.5-point favorite on that thing.
I don't need to pick it up. Yes, 2.5 point. What is the line now? The line was 2.5 at the time. Has it changed?
I don't know. You're the gambling guy of the show.
Let me go to the book. Let me go to the book.
I don't do anything.
The joy of sport. More gambling, they say.
I don't talk all about gambling. It just
what's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it.
Let's go 2.5. Your Florida Auburn lines -2.5 to Florida. Over under is 159.5. Money line +130 for Auburn. Houston is +5.5 with an over-under of 136.5. That line has moved, by the way. It was originally 135.5. Houston +220 on the money line.
So I have not been enamored with Auburn because I know that they're supposed to be the best team in the country, but I didn't think they played their A game against Kraton. I don't think they've played their A game for 40 minutes.
No,
like Duke has had, and I think Houston at points have had. I think Auburn and Florida both have not played like they played in the regular season up to that level. I like Auburn in this game just because I think, I think both games are going to be very, very close.
Me too.
But I like Auburn a little bit more on their ability to string stops together. But I think this will be a tight game, maybe 1 or 2 points. The line is absolutely right. But I think Auburn, and there's no such thing as an upset tomorrow.
No.
Like even if Houston, if that line gets to 6, I mean, can you call a 1 seed over a 1 seed an upset?
No.
I don't think Auburn winning as a 2.5 point underdog over Florida would be an upset. Just like I don't think Houston would, in my world, beating Duke would be an upset because I think very highly of Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think people sell them short.
Houston might be the only team that could beat Duke.
Because
they play a different kind of style that
totally
Duke hasn't
agree with
seen.
you. I
where
totally
Auburn
agree.
and Florida are somewhat similar to Duke.
Well, I think what makes Auburn and Florida is their just massive size in the front court, right?
Mhm.
And just their ability to hound the boards on the rebounds. But Duke's got that. They got 2 guys who can compete down there with them. And then on top of that, those 2 guys are more skilled than the other 2 guys on Auburn and Florida. I think just Houston's, their overall size, their overall physicality, length, and like you said, how they play defense, that you don't really see. You don't play anyone similar to Houston during the year. Another thing too, is the number 2 team in Ken Palm beating the number 1 team in Ken Palm? Is that an upset?
No, there's no upsets tomorrow.
No. Or great team.
But so the dogs haven't barked very much, right?
Yeah.
In this tournament?
Mm-mm.
I think the dog barks tomorrow in the late game.
I'm with you.
I think Houston beats Duke.
I'm with you.
I think Houston covers. I think Duke wins. With Proctor and Malawak, Flagg, Knipple.
A lot of young guys there.
But that hasn't proven to be a problem.
Against the old men.
That hasn't proven to be a problem yet in this tournament. They have played. I mean, there was a lot of old men on the Alabama team, and they absolutely. I mean, they brought it to them, and they played incredible defense against them and held them to like 65 points. Like that is it. I don't think when you're that damn good and you're that damn talented. And I'll tell you something right now. John Shire was in the Elite 8, and as a coach at Duke, who started as a coach in waiting. Yeah. He was an Elite 8 at Duke.
Popular thing to do these days.
And there was Duke Twitter people saying, I still don't know about him. Okay? I mean, he has had to deal with being the guy after the guy. And this season has proven that he's done it better than maybe you could imagine. And not only in terms of coaching these guys, but recruiting these guys as well. I think 5.5 is ridiculous. I think 5.5 points is way too many points for this game. But I do think Duke wins. I at the end of the day, when it comes to Auburn and Florida, you're spot on. Both these teams have had their hiccups in terms of how they've looked throughout the tournament. I mean, it took Florida almost a damn near miracle to get to this point by being Texas Tech. But I think the one thing that Florida has that Auburn doesn't is a closer. Right. And I'm not saying that Pettiford is a bum, and I'm not saying that, Denver Jones is a bum or anything like that. But Walter Clayton is the ultimate closer.
Would you consider Broom a closer? When they need a bucket. Aren't you saying like when you need a bucket, you go to your closer?
I would consider Broom a closer, but I would, once again, that's not me hesitating at all to say that I would prefer Clayton in that regard. When it's a Clayton. Walter Clayton is a closer, and Florida will win.
All right. I like Houston Auburn for the Final Four. I know that's not real sexy.
Are we really opposites?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Duke, Florida.
No. If Duke wins Saturday, they're going to win the whole thing.
Well, Duke winning the championship is the best thing for the sport.
Yeah.
Just like UConn women winning is the best thing for the sport, because UConn women has, with USC not there, with Juju, UConn women, that sport is built on stars, and I want people to get Caitlin Clark out your mouth. She's not playing anymore.
People forget.
But Paige Beckers is, and UConn winning with Paige Beckers, I think, would be best for the sport. Duke winning, whether you like Duke or not, Duke winning.
That's what CBS wants.
Duke winning would be best for the sport.
It's hard for me not to want to have Kelvin Sampson
win the national title.
The most underrated coach in the game today, who I think will get his flowers. I think I'm with you. I think the Cougars are going to beat the hell out of Duke. They're not going to blow them out. I'm just saying it's going to be physical.
I think it will be. I think both these games will be very close.
It'll be a tough game. I mean, the Alligators.
The dogs haven't barked. They're a dog, according to your big board.
They are.
They are in the state of Texas. Last year against Duke, remember what happened? When their best players goes down and Duke wins that game when Houston was having one of those seasons. Now they get to face Duke again in the national semifinals.
Let me tell you, I'm right there with you. I understand your point.
65-62, one of those games.
Houston doesn't.
If it was 65-62, that's Houston all the way.
Houston, that's done and dusted. If it's a 65-62 game, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg isn't just an NBA prospect. Cooper Flagg is the best damn player in the country. And I think that
it is his future hometown.
When it comes down to it, he's going to go. He's going to grab that game by the throat.
The new arena.
I'm hopeful, man. I'm
hopeful.
hopeful.
I don't want him to move.
They should just lock him down in San Antonio. But right. I think he's the best damn player. He is the best damn player in the country. And I think it'll be a drag out, knock him out brawl, but he will drag Duke over the finish line.
All right. We will see if we are right or wrong coming up on Monday when we're back with you at 6. Have a great weekend, everybody. There's a lot of sports going on, a lot of activity, lots of college basketball news over the weekend that does not involve the Final Four. So keep your
eyes open and ears peeled.
Antennas up for
Crown
stuff that can be going on. I think there's craziness with coaching. I think the next couple of days will be kind of interesting with coaching. We'll see if we're right or wrong when we join you on Monday at 6 a.m. Live, laugh, punt. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe, make memories, and have a great weekend. We'll see you back here at 6 with another edition of Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone.